Uh, oh boy. So I don't really know what I really want to talk about. I'm just gonna go random. And I think people, if there's anybody that will happen to stumble upon this, they're gonna walk into like probably a verbal landmine or something. So one of the things that I just can't stand is how DEI and all of that nonsense has essentially it has really set gaming back, um, as far as I'm concerned. It really has. Um, I look at what has happened with things like games, like franchises like Dragon Age, for instance, and it's it is such a travesty what has happened to that franchise. You know, with that guy, the tranny that just ended up leaving. And so there's just so many things I want to just get off my chest, like breast reduction, to be perfectly honest. Whether I want to talk about Tekken, whether I want to talk about what happened with BioWare and how they completely screwed up a once proud franchise in Dragon Age, or talk about Ubisoft and how their inclusion of this character that nobody asked for with Yasuke. Nobody asked for this fucking character, but they're going to force this character in and thus ruining an Assassin's Creed game that most people have been waiting for the better part of probably 15 years, to be perfectly honest. And so it's like, where do you go from here, right? When it comes to this whole DEI shit and all of these people, men wanting to put on a dress and thinking that they're goddamn women, men wanting to go in women's spaces. It's like when I put content together on my channel, on my little small growing channel. I'm not a huge YouTuber where I can put any old thing online and like in an hour I have 10,000 views. I'm not there yet. Probably will. I don't know if I'll ever be there. But I do speak on the things that do happen in this society, whether it's whether it's movies, TV shows, video games, our schools. It's it's enough to make me want to just bury my fist through a wall and say, what the hell are all of you guys doing allowing this shit to persist? That's the thing that bothers me. I can go to the Dragon Age thing. I can go to any specific video game, but it goes beyond gaming. I've seen this happen with Star Wars. I've seen this happening with Lord of the Rings. Every single franchise, video game, everything that this whole DEI movement, the woke, the trannies, the lesies, all of this mental illness bullshit is ruining various aspects of our media. That is not my opinion. That is a fact. Many times early on when I was putting content on this channel, and I look at the failures that these games wrought upon their publisher. For instance, one game in particular, it was called Concord. This particular thing was a $400 million colossal failure. Now, I give them credit to a degree because it's an original IP. That's as far as it goes for me. But $400 million Sony wasted on this franchise that died when it went live 2 weeks later. You would think that many other developers, hell, even directors in other franchises. I mean, $400 million is still $400 million, and you would have thought that people that create shows, create movies and games would say, you know something, this shit ain't working. This ain't working. And you know, I just feel like when when you put these things together, when you put these things together, I just feel like it's a recipe for disaster. It really is a recipe for disaster. And it really, really upsets me. It bothers me. And, you know, even though I'm literally ranting to myself essentially on live camera, but I've never been one to shy from a camera. You know, I'll have some fun on here for anybody that happens to pass on through. But since I know that this will be uploaded, I will have some meaning for this because my position is, if it was not clear, I will make it crystal clear. The trannies, the gays, the lesbians, while I do not wish harm upon anybody in particular, I don't, but I will never look at these people as being normal. And I do feel it is mental illness. And I just question, why is it that these people, what is their fascination with breaking into already established IPs that, you know, already has a fan base, and that fan base clearly is overwhelmingly hetero. Let's just be perfectly honest, right? You know, I try to make sense of it. I try to make sense of it. Like, why would people who follow this whole DEI movement, what is their fascination of going into markets that are already overwhelmingly hetero? For instance, it's like it's like if you're making a Star Wars movie, I think it's safe to say that the vast majority of the people are straight men and women. I don't think I don't think that's a stretch to say. I don't think it's hate speech. But when you hire someone that has no experience in the Star Wars community or in the lore or whatever, and you hire them, and I'm speaking about this woman named Leslie Headland. And in case you're unaware, this is a person that was the showrunner of a little known show called Star Wars Acolyte. I don't know if you've heard about this one. The show was a colossal failure. Now, of course, you may have had a few diehards that, you know, they'll accept anything. They'll accept any goddamn thing. And I didn't watch the show. I watched a lot of the other YouTubers, a lot of the other content creators. They bombed and shitted all over that show. It was entertaining to watch. But then one time I did watch one particular I did watch a few clips, and I wanted to see, was it as bad as everybody said it was. And I think I saw a scene with one of the lead characters. I think it's supposed to be a twin. It was a black girl, and they're supposed to be twins. And they ended up killing the Carrie Ann Moss, who played Trinity from The Matrix. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that was a huge opportunity that they missed and screwed up on. I don't know why they killed that woman off, but when I saw that, I already realized I dodged a bullet. I didn't need to watch this bullshit. And I already knew that the show was going to fail. And thankfully, it was canceled, I think after the first season. So I say all of that to say this, right? I say, oh, Mr. Kazuya Mishima, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I want to understand it. I speak about Tekken, and I'm a 30-year veteran of the franchise. I've been playing the game since I was, what, 14 years old. And so I know a lot about the franchise. I've competed in Tekken for a long time with Lei Wulong for a long, long time. But my last tournament was 2017 in the spring. I think I went to a tournament called Defend the North because I live in New York, and I got top 8 with Steve. It's just funny how Lei was released that same year in 2017, literally on my birthday, September 6th. So that was crazy. But right now, I'm just kind of ranting. This is my first time going live, and I'm just, the things that's been going on with, BioWare. It's a pretty big company that, put out Mass Effect, Dragon Age, and you have Ubisoft that put out Assassin's Creed, and all of this DEI nonsense that basically is just, it's ruining gaming as far as I'm concerned. So I'm really speaking on that, kind of ranting. I don't really expect many people to show up to my live. I'm a nobody in the YouTube space right now, but I'm growing. I'm getting there. But yeah, when I look at what happened with Star Wars and I'm looking at what has happened with Dragon Age, it's like you hire people that, one, they don't respect the lore. They probably don't even know about the lore. They're utilizing that franchise as sort of like a Trojan horse to push their own message, to push their own agenda. And I can't stand it. It's very frustrating to see certain shows, certain movies, certain video games die because the ones that hire the people to lead the project, those people don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know, they can't relate to the community, nothing. And I'm just tired of it. It's very frustrating. You know, the as far as I'm concerned, Star Wars as a franchise, that shit is done. That shit is dead. On the gaming front, they just had a goddamn man masquerading as a woman that was the lead director of a game, Dragon Age: The Veil Guard. In the community, we call it the Woke Guard. You know, and while the game had decent combat, it was not a Dragon Age game in that sense, where Dragon Age was, the original trilogy was very much based off of like dark, gritty, swords, magic, dragons, magic, tough decisions. And then when they released a trailer to it, which I didn't have an issue with, but many people found it looked like Fortnite. So that put off a lot of people. And now the current news is that this Corinne Bush, that's the tranny that was the lead director of the game, that person left BioWare. How ironic that they decided to leave the company after creating a colossal failure that missed 85% of its sales expectations. That is a monumental fuck up. Monumental. Now, where does the franchise of Dragon Age go from here? Now, mind you, you may not even play video games. You may not even know what the hell I'm talking about in terms of what the hell is he talking about Dragon Age. But just know that it has a very large community. And the time that the last game came out, which was Dragon Age Inquisition, that was 10 years ago. So imagine, right? Imagine if you're waiting for something, whether it's a show, movie, a video game, and you've been waiting for this for 10 years. 10 years, you're a loyal fan. And then when you get it, it's filled with DEI, woke, gay, non-binary, mental illness fuckery. That is what the vast majority of the community of Dragon Age had to deal with. And this same team is now looking to move on to Mass Effect, which is another very prominent and favorable franchise. And they're going to screw that franchise up too. And it just upsets me so much that while these people, they all claim that they're marginalized. Oh, I'm gay, I'm trans, and the world looks down on us. But yet and still, these people seem to have no problem getting in positions of leadership when it comes to certain video games, shows, movies. And instead of doing right by the franchise, doing right by the lore, by the community that built up that game, built up that franchise, they instead use the franchise as a sort of a Trojan horse to push their own goddamn identity politics. That's the shit that I can't stand. And I'm willing to wager that there are many people who believe just as I do. While we don't hate the gays and the trannies per se, but we don't like that they have come into our games, come into our shows, come into our movies, and they fucked it up. And then for us to say we don't like what's going on, people like myself, we're transphobe, we're homophobe, we're this, we're that. And it's like, dog, here's an idea. Why don't you guys create your own content for your own audience? A game like Dragon Age The Veilguard cost well over $100 million. The failure that is Star Wars Acolyte, that show, cost hundreds of millions of dollars. If these people really want to push the agenda, why don't they do it on a smaller budget? See, this is the reason why I say it is an agenda. Because if you're a business owner, whether you're in the business of cars, selling whatever you're selling, at some point in time, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're pushing, you're selling, promoting, when you see a strategy that is not working and it is costing you millions upon millions of dollars, at some point, you're going to look to your team and say, you know something? We need a course correction because obviously what we're doing is not working. But that's what smart, intelligent people would do. What has been happening in the gaming space, in the movie space, and in the show space is that this is nothing more than an agenda. An agenda does not care about how much money is being thrown away. All they care about is the message. This is why a lot of times when you go on your Netflix or your Amazon Prime or whatever you watch shows at, I would say 7 out of 10 times you watch a show, it's probably going to have some gay bullshit in the show or some sort of reference. And it was kind of at some point in time that where gaming was sort of like this last batch, this last era, this last space where it did not get tainted. That's done with. Now you're seeing a lot of these games that have these same-sex relationships and all this other nonsense. And I, for one, I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. Um, you know, uh, I wanted to say, yeah, I appreciate the one that mentioned with CKWK78. Man, you got a crazy name, bro. But yeah, when it comes to Raven for Tekken 8, yeah, the man needs buffs. He needs attention, but I just don't think that he's going to get the attention that he needs because it is clear to me that Namco already has in mind what direction they want to take Tekken at. And I'm not a fan of that direction. And this is the reason why I posted that video on my channel speaking about Virtua Fighter 6. And I look at that game as being the true definitive fighting game because the where Tekken is going right now, it is catering to scrubs, noobs, beginner players, which is not, there's nothing wrong with that. But for old OG players like myself, we are struggling to find our place in this franchise the way it is now. but yeah, when it if I were to see Lay return, uh it would depend on how he's made. What type of how is he brought into the Tekken 8 space? I don't want characters to be broken, but I just I like where Lei was at the end of Tekken 7. Uh, but time will tell. But I guess we'll see. Um, it would be nice to get him on my birthday. It was crazy. I won't even lie. I was completely caught off guard by that. Literally September 6th, 2017. Uh I don't even maybe that was fate. I don't know. All the times I went out of state to Virginia, Washington, San Francisco, Canada, Florida, Tennessee, going all these states and competing with Lay, only to do my little baby wipe damage and try to do my little mix ups, only to get killed off by Tekken 4 Nina, Tekken 5.0 Steve, get hit one time, losing my whole life bar. So I was like, man, fuck this bullshit. I'm out. And that's why I just stopped at the summer of 2017. I was like, I'm done. I'm tired of this. Um, but I don't have Cash App, but I do have PayPal. In fact, I could have sworn I put the PayPal on my channel. But yeah, PayPal. It should be if you go to my YouTube channel and go to like where you see the person's like their main page. My PayPal link should be there. But yeah, I think I should add Cash App because I forget people they use that in think Venmo or something like that. I don't really know. But I I really there's just so much, there's so much I really want to talk about, and I have so much passion, and I just feel like I don't want to be that guy that only speaks about Tekken, that only speaks about this. I don't want to be that guy. When I look at other popular YouTubers, like Asmongold, for instance, or this guy he has a silly name, Moist Critical. Basically, these guys, like that guy has like 15 million subscribers. The man literally hops on and basically it looks like he just woke up out of bed. No fancy graphics, no fancy thumbnails. The man just literally does this, shows up, yaps, rants about whatever. He might screen share, and the dude is pulling in like, I don't know, 20, 30, $50,000 a month just yapping online. It's amazing. It's so but more to that point, I just want to be that guy where when I make a video or I go live, this is my literally first time I'm going live here. Um, I would love to have an audience that shows up for me. That just they want to hear me, not necessarily me like I'm talking about this or I'm talking about that. It don't matter what I'm talking about. You just want to come in, chill, talk some shit, you know, maybe change you come in the chat like, hey, like like I'm talking about DEI and Star Wars and how BioWare completely destroyed Dragon Age, and then somebody can say in the chat, hey, what do you think about the direction that Dragon Ball is going with Dragon Ball Daima? Like, because I think that shit is bullshit as far as I'm concerned. And then we go in our own conversation with that. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to be that in that position, but at the same time, also be one of those people that you know if you hear something from me, you're not hearing no bullshit. You're hearing it straight up. I'm not trying to kiss up to nobody. No shilling going on over here. If a game sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. If the game is godlike, I'm going to tell you the game is godlike. Like that's basically how I feel. And so when I made the videos, just to shift gears, talking about Tekken 8, when I wanted to make content Originally, I'll say this right now. When I was gonna start this YouTube channel, my first video I wanted to do was a video on breaking down how to use frame advantage to your advantage. Because I've seen other people's YouTube videos on Tekken with the frame data, and there are still some people out there that have uh difficulty understanding frame data, but also how to use it to their advantage. And I came up with this way to kind of explain it in a very simplistic way. But when I was recording it, I couldn't get it just right. And I can tell you, I may have recorded a video, maybe 50, not 50, maybe 20 videos. And I just could not get it to where I wanted, and I just never uploaded it. And this was early in the year. So so I kept procrastinating, and I finally decided I was going to make my first video. And if you go on my channel and you look at the very first video I posted, August 23rd, 2024, I was literally just talking about literally nothing, but I just wanted to just put something out there, just to force myself to just go and do it. And but I still wanted to talk about Tekken, but with me not having Lei, I felt like, well, I feel it would be pointless to talk about Lei because he's not even in the game. And I wasn't even playing ranked. I would just literally, I bought the game at launch. I played the closed beta. I got invited to participate. So that's how I knew from the very beginning Jin was an absolute broken piece of shit character from the very beginning. I knew that in the closed beta, and it amazes me how that character has had no significant nerfs at all, none. So I was like, well, what character am I going to use? And I was like, you know what? I went and watched a main man video. Oh yeah, down two is bullshit. Down two is fucking, that shit is cancer. But I went and watched, the main man Sui, who I he and I, we are from the same generation. I remember him back from the old Tekken Zaibatsu days when he used to make combo videos with Devil Jin and Kazuya, along with another player by the name of Tony T. Now this is going way back. This is like the OG Tekken knowledge. And Tony T was a combo video guy from Australia, and then there was legendary players named Jop, Jop. He was a legendary Tekken Tag Tournament 1 player. I mean, I knew all the legends, and but it forged me into the player I am now. And so when, to kind of get back to tie this all in a bow, when I decided to try to make content for my channel, this channel on Tekken, I was like, who am I going to use? So when I saw the main man Sui, he would post his tier list videos, and he would just be like, Raven is like the worst character in the game. He'd always put Raven and Asuka as like the two worst characters. And then that's when I was like, you know what, let me see. I'm a Lei Wulong master, so if there's anybody that can dive deep into a character like Raven, it's me. And I spent off and on 2 months working on that character, figuring out the ins and outs. And it also helped that I learned how to use Warang, a character I used to absolutely hate in the other Tekkens, along with Eddie Gordo. I learned those characters just to see what bullshit they had. And then when I finally decided to go with Raven, I started to see a lot of inconsistencies. I started to see a lot of weird things that he suffered from, but other characters didn't. Let me see. So you gotta go with the main topic to rope in large audience and switch topics. You gotta learn. See, the thing is, I know the algorithm. The algorithm is really the audience. There really isn't any. A lot of people have this misconception that the algorithm is some sort of machine type thing. The algorithm is just based on people watching your content. This is why all of us YouTubers will say, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is why we do that shit, because it all counts as engagement. It sends the trigger. I guess you can say it is a machine, but the machine is driven by you, the viewer. And so when you post a video, if you can get people to watch, if you post a 10-minute video and people are watching 3 to 4 minutes of it and they're leaving a like and a comment, then that's going to send that video to the next testing pool. That's how it works. YouTube will send a video to your whatever amount of subscribers you have, as well as to like a certain test group. Let's say it's 50 people. If a decent amount of those 50 people engaged with the video, liked it, and all that other shit, then the video is sent out to another 50 people, and then another. And that's where the concept of going viral comes from, because it's like it just keeps going from group to group to group until it finally tapers off. That's pretty much how it looks like. But yeah, like but anyway, when I looked at the Raven character, for instance, the one of the videos I made was showing a few examples of specific moves from other characters outside of Raven. One of the ones I did not show was with Nina. Now, Nina, in some respects, she is a balanced character. In some respects, when it comes to her sidestep 2 and her up back 1, those are actually well-balanced moves. Now, her up back 1 is minus 16 on block. Now, imagine that move that causes a combo on normal hit. It's a mid, and it evades a lot of linear straight line moves. Imagine if that move was safe or minus 12. People would lose their shit. But because it's minus 16, there's a balance to that move. When you look at prominence, which is what Main Man always likes to say, I think that's the name of the move from Clive, that bullshit double slash move, forward 1+2. When you look at a move like that, the move has perfect tracking. It comes out pretty quick. It's a fucking heat engager, and it was minus 8 on block. So now, with the move having all that utility, Namco in their infinite wisdom decided to say, you know what? We heard you, Tekken community. You kept bitching and complaining. We'll make it minus 12, which is basically a slap on the wrist. That's what that move was. Where that move, in my opinion, for it to have all of the utility that it has, tracking, it's a heat engager, it's fast, it does pretty decent damage, that move should be at minimum minus 13. I would have put that move at minus 14, but I would accept minus 13. Minus 12 is ridiculous. And then that's when I made the comparison with Raven, and I'm like, how the fuck do you make his shadow clones minus 14 when that move's sole purpose is just to make the opposing player respect your frames? That's the main point of the move, the clone with Raven. That's it, to make you stop pressing buttons. It doesn't cause a guaranteed follow-up, only if by the wall. But how many times are you going to be in that position? Really? Most of the time, you're going to be out in open field. So it highlighted to me the direction that Namco is going to take Tekken 8. They are going to keep certain characters very strong. The mere fact that Clive is a guest character, is also a Final Fantasy character, and Namco has a very good relationship with Square, they are going to keep Clive strong. And the next characters that they're going to bring in are going to be getting away with murder. I can guarantee you that. You think, well, just wait until Anna comes. That bitch is going to make, if I had hair left, I would rip whatever hair I had left out of my scalp. And I'm just being honest. because I know that character. I know 1000% Anna is going to be annoying as fuck to fight. I already know this. I already know this. I already know this. And it's facts. 100% facts. But you know, the thing is about the comment just there, Hayes and Shinobi. The thing is, I was kind of I was curious about this because they do look good. When I watch their replays, what's his name? Shinobi Khan, Hayes. You got the Korean player, I think his name is Go Attack. I don't know where these guys get these names from, but whatever. And these guys, they're very skilled Raven players. I think we can all agree with that. But I question if their opponents have matchup knowledge, because understanding Raven the way I do and seeing them get away with some of the shit they're getting away with, it makes me think like a lot of these guys just don't really know the matchup. And even if they did, they're really posting matches that cast them in a very favorable light. And I think that's what CK just said. They mostly show the highlights, because I can tell you, uh, even though Raven has some solid moves, he does. I'm not going to argue that. He does have some good moves. But I would say most of the moves Raven has, there is a character on the roster that has a better version of that move than Raven does. The only exception I can think of is down forward one. I do feel that Raven arguably has the best down forward one in the game. And I do feel that his Aqua Spider low, the full crouch down forward three, I do feel I would put that as a very, very strong low. But a lot of the other things that he has, it's problematic. I do feel, and this is something I wanted to make a YouTube video on, but I guess I'll say it right here. I do feel that there are some Ravens out there that they'll play crazy with Raven. They'll do a lot of the hell sweep, which back in the day we used to call that quicksand, the full crouched down forward both kick move. And they'll mix up with that, teleport from the sky into a crouch position and try to hit you at while standing one. Well, the problem with that is when you really look at the core of it, you're trying to mix somebody up with a launch punishable low and a minus 14 mid. Like, when I look at him, like, anybody can guess wrong, but it doesn't mean what you're doing is really that is smart. Now, when you look at somebody like Kazuya or Jin, they can do that same plan, but they do it better because the only thing Kazuya and Jin are risking is getting launched from the low, but their mid combo options are both safe. So who is really enforcing that 50-50 match mix-up better? So this is why I'm not a fan of doing those type of moves. Now, maybe those other Raven players, they probably do quicksand far more than I do. I'm not a fan of it. And I get that from being a lay player. I used to see lay players all the time in Tekken 5, Tekken 6, Tekken Tag Tournament, and they're in tournament. And these were supposed to be the lay players that were allegedly better than me, which was absolute bullshit. The only lay player in the United States that was on my level was Sukin User in SoCal, California. That was the only lay player that was, I would say, was on my level. That was it. Everybody else, not even in the same stratosphere. And a lot of players I would see that would use lay, they would just run down back four, the rave sweep, down back 4-4. And I'm like, I'm just saying to myself, watching it on stream, I'm like, you're not aware that this move is launch punishable, right? And even if you hit somebody with the fucking move, Lei is only doing 34, I think 32 or 34 damage. So you're risking 34 damage versus if they block, you're dead. And I see a lot of people do the exact same shit with Raven. They actually think that that style is good. Like you might gimmick people out, but if you play against somebody that just happens to guess right, you're done. And that's when I look, I'm like, you know something? You can literally do two down fours with Raven and get the same damage that you would get from quicksand without the risk, only at minus 13. So that's how I approach Raven. I'm not trying to uh, give my opponent a free combo if they happen to guess right. If they're going to get a combo on me, it's either they have to earn it. They either caught me on some sort of frame trap or they mixed me up. But I'm not going to give you a launch punishable thing to launch me in the air because you happen to flip a coin and you guessed right. I'm not about to do that. I've never played like that. And you know, I mean, kudos to those Ravens that do get away with it, but not my style, not my thing. Um, so now these are good points here. I really need, you got to forgive me. It's my first time doing a live stream. I've been on people's live stream before, but I've never ran one myself. So I'm like looking at the comments here. And so I will say, back one, I kind of did feel for Raven. Raven's back one should be, it's hard to say because it depends. I feel if that move is a mid, with the advantage it gives you, I think it could be a little bit broken. I feel because that back one is only 16 frames. So when I contrast that with a move like Brian Fury, whose back one is 20 frames, I'm like, and we already know how bullshit annoying that move is. I feel like having basically a faster Brian Fury back one or chopping elbow would be a little bit problematic. I would just say 100%. I feel that Raven should have a much faster while running attack. And I do feel that his back 4-4, that move back in the day, if you don't remember, that move used to be +8 on block. That move used to be +8 back in the Tekken 5 era. I don't know about Tekken 6. I didn't really use Raven at that time. Or if, sometimes I'd be forgetting, was Raven even in Tekken 6? I'd be forgetting. Yeah, he was. But in Tekken 5, back 4-4 was actually the move that, because it was such a unique looking move. It looked mad cool to me. Back 4-4. It still looks good. It's like a question mark kick, because I follow MMA. It's like a question mark kick. But ever since they changed that shit to -8, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, so I don't know, man. I would like to see that move to be plus. It doesn't have to be plus a lot. At least plus 10. I would say I would take +2 because I don't mind conditioning my opponent, but at least give me something to start off with. Like, give me a starter. Give me +2 at least, so I can at least threaten with Ravens back turn 3-4, which in my opinion is quintessentially his absolute best fucking move, his best string, his best anything. I cannot tell how many matches I have won by simply going back turn 3, 4. Oh, you press buttons? 4. Guaranteed back turn 1+2 every single time. I have won so many matches off of that. And I was thinking, you know what? If Namco were to give me the opportunity, the option to do back turn 3-4 and remain back turn to loop 3-4 again, I would take that over just about anything. And I mean that. Because what back 3-4-4 is with Raven And people, I don't think people really understand this. And it's the it's the best kept secret. That move is essentially Jin's 214. It's essentially 214 from Jin. Because with Jin's 2-1 comes out at 10 frames. It's a 10 frame high. And I think it's a 22. No, it's a 10 frame high, and the one is 20 frames. Whereas Raven, his high is 10 frames, and the other kick, the second kick, is 22 frames. It's essentially conceptually the same shit. It's the same string. 214 from Jin, the 4 is -9 on block. And on counter hit, it knocks you down for a free guaranteed down 2. It's the same premise. So when I learned that, I was like, I can just use Raven's back turn 3-4 the same fucking way. And what ended up happening was I started noticing my opponents literally frozen. Frozen. At one time I looped it 4 times in a row. Just imagine this. Imagine I go back turn with Raven. You block 3-4. I go back turn again, 3-4. I did it 4 times in a row. And on the 5th time, I finished with the last 4, flipped over, boom, caught him counter hit, back turn 1+2, dead. That to me is Raven's best fucking, it's his best anything. But it would be made even better if they gave you the opportunity, the option to remain back turn. And this is why I say that in a lot of the Raven videos I publish, because when I looked at his back turn kit, most of the moves Raven has will either keep you in back turn, or you have the option to go re-enter the stance. But for whatever reason, back turn 3-4 turns you back around to his default style. Now, I don't know if that was a conscious decision by Namco. Maybe they already thought ahead of time before I figured it out that string is a problem. Because if you block the first kick and you happen to do anything, you're going to get a counter hit. And if you happen to mash a 10 frame attack, the second kick is going to trade, and you're going to be +15 on the trade. It's godlike. It's a godlike string. And it's the one thing I would say that I would urge all Raven players to 1000% add that shit into your kit. Just do it. Nike that shit. Just whore it out. Because many people I've hit everybody. Everybody I've done it to, they've all died to it. And that's just what it is. Now, of course, the Aqua Spider makes it even more deadly, because on hit, Aqua Spider is +2. Exactly the frames I need to do an uninterruptible back turn 3-4 mix. And then once my opponent has been conditioned to stand there in fear of getting hit by the counter hit 3-4, that's when I start to do the back turn, the little low kick, or maybe I'll just do something else. It is the art of conditioning your opponent, and I am 1000% confident in my many years of doing that to my opponents, both casually and in tournament with Lei Wulong for the better part of 15 years. So I definitely would say that is definitely, So now, I don't really want to say what the counterplay is, because I'm like, fuck, man, people are gonna know, and I kind of wanted to hoard it to myself, because I did have that secret tech, and I'll reveal this too. I'll get to that question. You know what? I'll do it right now. In order to deal with Raven's back turn 3-4, all you have to do is just do an armor move. That's it. Just do an armor move. Yeah, you can duck the 3. It's a 10 frame attack. So if you feel because then what ends up happening is when you're ducking something that fast in Tekken or any fighting game, that's not something you're gonna recognize. You're going to have to preemptively, you're gonna have to already be ducking. So now I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, if I hit you with Aqua Spider and I make the read, and I'm very good at making reads, and I catch you ducking. So it, it depends on the player. If you can make the read and you can duck the Raven back turn 3, but even if you do, if you do not do a quick enough move, the 4 will smash you on counter hit or trade, and then you're back in the same situation. So that's the reason why that move is so strong and why I compare it to Jin's 2-1, because the only difference with Jin's 2-1 is that he has access to it at a moment's notice. It's just a 2-1. Raven, you have to go back turn and then do the move. That's why I say I feel it's really stupid that Namco has not given Raven an attack that will put him back turned that is plus on block. Because if he had that, a meaningful move, that is, he would be able to run that game. And I know for a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, if I were to go to a significant tournament and run that on live stream with Raven, I guarantee, I would bet my soul every Raven player across the world would X copy my shit. And how do I know this? Because I kind of did this already with Lay. When I would be on live stream and then I would start to see people I would fight against online and even other Lay players in tournament, I'm like, I wonder where they got that tech from. So it is interesting. So, but essentially, that is how you can defeat that back turn 3-4 with Raven, is to essentially, you can duck the initial 3, or you can block the 3 and just execute your armor move. You can do that. It's even worse with Jin, which pisses me off because Jin can literally parry all 3 attacks. There was one guy I fought, I think he was a Tekken Emperor. I played him one match, and I was running it. And the thing is, I was purposely doing, because I wanted to see, and that's another thing. A lot of times when I play online just to test shit out. So this guy, he was smart. I destroyed him. I remember I destroyed him the first round with it. The second round, he ended up beating me. Third round, I remember I was running it again, and he started to parry. And I was like, okay, let me finish the string. And lo and behold, Jin, boom, 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 parried, down 3+4, can kicks, knocked me in the air, comboed me, killed me. I was like, I messaged him after that. I was like, yo, that was good. That was good shit. That was good shit. You know what I mean? And that type of skill and character awareness, I respect. It's not rare coming from a Jin player, but they do have their moments where I have to give the player some bit of respect. But yeah, what is it? Tekken Gods duck my 3, 7 out of 10. See, the thing is, what's happening is your opponent is committing to ducking. They're not making, it's like they're already committing to crouching. If you were to do whatever move you set that player up to get back turned, I guarantee you that person would already be ducking before you even throw an attack out. They're like, if you watch the replay of that match and you put their command history on, you would see the little arrow pointing south. They're already ducking. It's like somebody doing a hop kick, a Hail Mary fucking hop kick, which I could not stand back in my day. They're already mashing hop kick the minute you put them in some sort of a frame trap. They're already mashing, like, "Urgh!" They're just mashing that shit. And now the Tekken 8 version is they're mashing rage art. That's what they're doing. So that's the shit there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry if it's boring content. We all can't be Mr. Beast over here. I don't have explosions going off every 5 seconds. But anyway, I'll leave it to you. Hey, what do you want to talk about? I'm running my mouth. I'm yapping. We can talk about anything. We can talk about Dragon Ball. You can talk about the fights. We can talk about if anybody knows boxing. Talk about whatever. I'm down. I have no problem turning it over to anybody that wants to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Yes, Fuzzy Guard is my politics? Oh boy. I don't know if you're ready for that. let me humor this P PYK. Okay. So my politics, quite simply, first of all, let me just say I've never voted for anybody in my life, and I'm 44 years old. But this time around, I voted for Trump, and I'm proud of it. And when I looked at the choices that were available, in fact, I actually do have a video on my channel talking about some of this, by the way. When I looked at cackling Kamala Harris and sleepy Joe Biden, it was funny when I used to talk about this guy. A friend of mine was like, yo, the White House is using like level 99 necromancers, keeping Joe Biden alive, just resurrecting his corpse. You know what I mean? And it was just hilarious, but it's the truth. And, I'm obviously, I'm old enough, we're all old enough to remember that Trump already had a term. He was already in office 2016. And quite frankly, the only thing that really happened during that term was COVID. If I take out COVID, there really wasn't much that happened that was earth shattering to the economy, to the border. It wasn't until cackling Kamala came in with Sleepy Joe. They fucked up the border. We have millions upon millions of illegals in this country. We have food prices is out of this world. Like, I could not unsee this. So I'm like, okay, you're talking about all the shit that you want to change. You're talking about how I want to do this, I want to do that. And you're talking about how Trump is Hitler, Trump is a devil, but yet and still all of the shit that's going on in America is happening on your term. So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm voting for Trump this time. Because I can remember when he was in 2016, shit was not as bad as it is now. And that's a fact. People may argue this. Even my own sister, she can't stand Trump. But that's fine. Everybody has their thoughts. I respect it. But I just look at how this country was back in 2016 versus how it became in 2020. And it's clear as day to me. Clear as day. I'm just being very honest. You know what I mean? Like, it's a travesty that I think here in New York, I almost couldn't believe it. There was a woman that literally got set on fucking fire in the goddamn train. But you know what happens? Because I have a friend of mine that's a police officer. He actually retired, and he told me that the way the law is, especially here in New York, that they have a very soft on crime mandate because it's all of those orders are coming from up top. And so when they arrest somebody, they can literally get released the same day. In fact, just recently I posted on my Instagram, there was a kid in the Bronx that got stabbed by a guy who had 4 prior arrests. And I think they said that he stabbed somebody or something. He got released the following day, and that it was that day he ended up and murdered this teenage boy in the Bronx. And you have to ask yourself, would this fucker had been released like this if Trump was in office? No. Would that woman that lost the daughter, I don't know what state she was in, but there was a woman that lost her daughter to an illegal that was a Mexican gang member or some shit like that. And I'm like, you you cannot unsee these things. And it bothers me because that that girl had her life snuffed out by somebody that had no business being in here. And whatever people want to say about Trump, I know the man is no angel. The man is no, I'm not saying he's going to walk on water, but anything has to be better than the current state of the country right now. The United States right now is borderline a third world country. It is amazing if you do the research and you learn how much money, how much trillions of dollars have been fucking sent to Ukraine, to fucking Gaza, money that should be coming to us to help us. We have our own homeless situation. We have our own drug situation. We have our own problems. My father, back in the day when I was growing up, he said, there's nothing wrong helping people out, helping your neighbor, but just be sure you have your own house in order before you go and want to start helping everybody else when your own goddamn self, you're in a bad way. You cannot help somebody when you are bleeding out. That's just the reality. So now the thing is, when it comes to Obama, uh, I I didn't I wasn't honestly I wasn't as much into politics as I am now. Back then, I believe Obama was 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Back then, uh, it was entertaining to watch, but I just didn't. I wasn't really following it on that level the way I am now. I just wasn't. Um, but yes, Trump won basically everything. I mean, the man literally had a clean sweep. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, man, please do not let this cackling fool win this election because I can guarantee you there would be no foreign leader that would respect that cackling idiot. And they would have a meeting where they would have the Chinese president be like, what did he say? He say we invade America next month. They would not respect that chick whatsoever. Um, but yeah, like I can tell you also, Obama was very significant for Black folk and very significant for my father, especially since maybe those that may not know, I am biracial. My late father is Black and Cherokee Indian, and my late mother was German Scottish. I lost them both. I lost my mom when I was 13 years old. I lost my father when I was 31. And I remember when Obama got I was let's say hired. When he got elected, my father cried. Uh, he shedded tears, and my father was an 11-year Marine Corps veteran that fought in the Korean War. And at that time, most Black folk was going into the army because the Marines was really just like an all white unit. They had separate barracks, separate water fountains. He used to tell me all this shit. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but um, it was very powerful. And my father was just like, he was born 1930. So my father came up during all that fucking racist civil rights shit. Okay. And he just said, I never thought I would live to see the day that a Black man would become president. And I never forgot that. Um, even though, we butted heads a lot, like sons and fathers sometimes do. But I'm glad, we kind of, made up at the end. Um, but yeah, I kind of got more into politics around the time Trump was first running. And then I started to kind of open my eyes to like things that was going on, things I didn't really pay attention to. And so now I won't say I'm an expert. I'm pretty sure maybe with some of you in the chat will probably know more than I do, but I can't deny what I see. Food prices are ridiculous. I don't drive a car, but I know many people that do, and they bitch and complain about the gas prices all the time. The housing market is shit. I heard it's next to impossible to buy a house unless you're like got Floyd Mayweather money, and I'm exaggerating, but it's very difficult. It's just ever since Trump left, it's like things just went down. So when he was running again, I'm like, fuck it. All right, if I'm gonna vote for somebody, I'm not gonna vote for the people that's already here. That now if if the country was doing well, then I my decision would have been more difficult. But it was I don't know. To me, it wasn't a hard decision. I mean, the woman could barely handle an interview. I remember that one interview. I don't know if you guys seen this in the chat. This is entertaining for me. She had her first interview weeks after she was called up to replace Biden. And I remember it was a CNN interview with Dana Bash. And she asked the simplest question: what will you do in your first day or so, your first 90 days or something like that, as president? The woman could not answer this softball question, and she invoked Trump. I'm screaming at the screen like, why are you talking about Trump when she's asking you, what will you do as president? So right there, I was like, she's done. I have no interest. But yeah, let me see. Trump term is enough to the thing is, CK, I don't know, man. Maybe things might change, but I do agree. There's too much damage been done, and I've heard many people say that the outgoing administration are purposely sabotaging Trump's like they're just fucking shit up even worse, so that when Trump does take office, he has to put out a lot more fires than he would have had to. So I have heard that. But yeah, I'm glad that Trump won. The man, like I said, he's no angel. But I can't deny that during his first term, things were not that bad. And they were definitely better back then they are now. That's 100% a fact. Um, and then Dr. Snipper, me too. I was like 5, and I remember vividly my mom went crazy. I thought she was possessed. Oh man. The thing is, those were good times. Those are good memories. That's the type of shit you'll never forget, well into your older years. Um, but I'm just so concerned about a lot of the just everything, like this whole DEI movement. This is the shit I was talking about at the very beginning of the stream. Just my thoughts on, where this country is going, that it glorifies mental illness. You know, there's no way anybody's going to convince me that a man putting on a goddamn dress is normal. There's nobody that's going to tell me that. And it's like these people just ruin franchises. They're trying to push the shit into the schools. Like it's just crazy. Like I don't know. It's like none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. And I don't wish harm upon these people. I don't. I pity them mostly. But it's just sad that it's a clear agenda that this country is pushing mental illness, as far as I'm concerned. Um, but but CK, when it comes to Vance, I honestly, this is moving because damn, I gotta hold on. When I do this, let me see. So I have this webcam. It has like AI tracking, so it kind of follows me. It's pretty cool, but it's annoying when you activate it by accident. But anyway, so at first I didn't know who JD Vance even was. I don't think many people did, unless you live in Ohio, which I live in Brooklyn, New York. But I mean, he speaks well. I don't know much about him. There are people that find some issues with him, but I really don't know enough about the man. But I do know one thing: the man can get through an interview, and that's more than I can say about cackling Kamala Harris. So that's what I can say about that. Um, but with all the stuff that's going on in the country, I you CK, you make a good point. I don't think one Trump is enough to reverse the damage. There's just too much. It's like you got shot like 80 million times and you're just bleeding out. And like the doctors are just trying to operate on you and they're keeping you alive, but the damage is so severe that you're slowly bleeding out. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just it's just crazy the way this country is now, with all this DEI bullshit, with all the wars that's going on. That you know, and the thing is, I wanted to make a video about this, but I don't think anybody was going to really tune in or really give a shit about what I have to say. But I found a video on YouTube. It was I don't know, it was a congressman or a senator, and he was asking a general or colonel, and he asked the guy, "Is it what's that uh God, what's that term? The NATO. Is it NATO getting closer to Russia or Russia getting closer to NATO?" Because Putin said that he would not invade Ukraine unless NATO was trying to recruit Ukraine. And I remember watching that, and I thought to myself, yeah, that kind of makes sense because uh if you really think about it, if NATO brings in Ukraine, then that means that the United States can put missiles in Ukraine. And that's something that even Putin said in this one, you know, meeting that he had. It was an interview. It was years ago, and basically saying that if they were to launch missiles from Ukraine, that Russia would have like what, a few minutes warning. So that's why, in my opinion, why Putin invaded Ukraine was to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO. And in fact, I heard that there was a sort of a deal signed that NATO would not expand past a certain point. That's what I heard. And I heard that NATO violated that. And that's what led to Putin invading Ukraine. Because then I contrast that with what happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis with John F. Kennedy, where the USSR wanted to put missiles in Cuba. So it's kind of like the same thing, just in reverse. So at least that's how I understood it. So let's see. You wasn't allowed to vote during Trump and Biden, but I wanted Trump to lose because I fell for the propaganda. Now that I'm an adult and into politics, there's no way I could vote for the current left. I 100%. Um, when I started to understand the whole premise of the left and the right, and I have a friend of mine that's very much into this sort of thing. He put me on to a lot of different people, Tim Pool, Alex Jones, Candace Owens. A lot of these people I listen to now. I don't agree with every single thing they say, but I can't deny that some of the things they say does make sense. Like my father used to say, even a broken clock is right 2 times a day. You think about that. And so it's just I just don't know uh, what the future holds. I can only hope that things are going to get better. I believe they will, but to what degree? Because it goes back to what CK said, that you know maybe if Trump had more than one term, but he only has 4 years, and then it's like, what happens after? Because life is going to go on after Trump leaves, and yeah, the thing is, I do agree with that. Yes, they did start the war, 100%. I want to show that. Maybe I'll put it as a short. I'll make it as a short. It was that one interview. Well, all right. It wasn't an interview. It was more like that what they do at the White House when they're asking the president. So whatever Russia's version of that is, that's what I saw. And Putin was standing at the podium and they were asking him questions about, do you have intent on invading Ukraine or something like that? And that's when he said that, if so, I'm paraphrasing, he said something where if Ukraine seeks to join NATO, which will potentially put missiles in Ukraine, causing a national security threat to Russia, then I can see invasion being on the table. That's basically the gist of what he was saying. And so it's just funny that the propaganda here that most of us were hearing was that Putin invaded Ukraine for absolutely no reason. He's the devil. He's this. He's that. He wanted to annex Ukraine and absorb it or assimilate it back into Russia. But then when I learned that NATO was expanding eastward past the point that was signed and agreed upon by NATO, to not go past this one particular point. When I learned that, I was like, oh, so that's what's going on. So they bullshitting everybody, but only very few of us knows what's really going on. Miss Wendy, I would definitely hope that the MAGA movement does continue, even if it is a different candidate. Well, it will be a different candidate. Um, I got into these arguments, well, debates. I wasn't arguing with my sister, but about, you know, she wanted Kamala Harris to win so bad because I think really a lot of people. I think I like to give people some credit and think that they realized that Kamala Harris was a shit option, but they hated Trump so much that they were willing to take a broomstick than to have Trump be in office again. But I would say that if there was ever to be a woman president, it definitely could not be her. Fuck no. No. But my vote would go to the great God, I got her. Oh, don't tell me I'm fucking up on stream. I'm messing up her name. Uh Tulsi Gabbard. That would be my when I see her, the way she carries herself, the way she speaks, the way she conducts interviews, her social media. If there was ever a woman that was presidential in my eyes, it's her. Not no Michelle or Michael Obama, not no Hillary fucking Clinton that probably should be behind bars as far as I'm concerned. It is Tulsi Gabbard. And I feel her time will come. She's very young. I don't even think she's even in I don't even think Tulsi is in her 40s yet. And then when I look at this other guy named Vivek Ramaswamy, I think he's pretty solid as well. I don't know the ins and outs of these people, but from what I can see, they seem legit. And I feel that their time will come. And I think to, Wendy, your point, that I feel that, the MAGA movement can continue because I think when you look at it on the surface, how can anybody how can anybody have a problem with make America great again? Like, how do you like, I'm trying to process that. How do you have a problem with maybe it's just me. How do you have a problem with I want to make America great again? You're the devil. Like, what? That don't even make any sense. You know? But yeah, you live in California. God, man. I hope you don't live in Los Angeles. Because I heard it's like a fucking inferno over there. Um, but I'm happy to vote for the right woman candidate. Hey, I do believe that there will be a female president. I 100% believe that. It's just a matter, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But I don't want it to just be a woman for the sake of it being a woman. I just don't want that. It's like this whole DEI thing that I've been ranting about. I want people to have the job that are qualified to do the job. I don't want to hire somebody just because they're this way or that way to fill some sort of quota. And I feel like that's what's been really going wrong in gaming, in our schools, our TV shows, everything. And so yeah, I do believe a woman will be president. I just hope it is a woman that is qualified, that has a understanding of the issues. And I do believe when I see Tulsi Gabbard, I see that in her. Now, I don't know if there's going to be others after her or if there are others right now that I'm just not aware of. But yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is definitely a woman that I would back 100%. Um, Oh, wow. Well, thank the maker that yourself, your family are well, Wendy, and even that I'm hearing all sorts of things that they didn't have water in the goddamn hydrants. I'm hearing all sorts of crazy shit you know and then I'm also hearing that the DEI aspect, that apparently it's a bunch of I think it's like I don't know if it was like a tranny or a lesbian that's supposed to be like the head of the fire department. I'm hearing all sorts of crazy shit. I don't even know. I'm hearing all sorts of silly nonsense, man. But good on you for being safe and also voting for Tulsi in 2020. And Mr. the Dr. Snipperman, just call Vivek Vake for short. Okay, okay. I can dig it. I can dig it. Um, you're from wow, okay. Yeah, I heard so many bad things going on with LA and just in that area. Um it's like, how the hell does something like that even happen? Like living here in New York, our crime is bad. Our prices are bad, but we don't have to worry about fires like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, how does something like that happen to that level? Like like I literally, it looks like a hellscape. It looks like I'm looking at into the fires of hell. Like, how the fuck did it get like that? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You know, but then, that guy, that Trump usually likes to make fun of, Gavin Newsom. He calls him Gavin Newscum. Oh man, like you know, one of my friends that's very much into politics, he kind of pointed this out to me, and I didn't realize it. That he said, "Did you notice that most states that are democratically ran, they usually the states are usually fucked up financially and they have the worst crime?" And I'm like, that can't be true. That can't be true. And then I looked a little into it and I was like, holy shit. Like, I think it is kind of true. But, you know, you kind of have to ask, How does a person like Gavin Newsom, with all of his incompetence, how does people like that even ascend to office? How do they remain in power? Is it coincidence? Is it maybe it's something that's meant now I wouldn't say meant to happen, but is it something that's like planned? I'm a proud conspiracy theorist and I have a lot of theories that I feel a lot of things are just allowed to happen. Like I believe just I know this is way left field and I hope my channel don't get striked or anything, but I believe that 9/11 was an inside job. 100%. Oh, shout outs to Wendy being from born in New York. Okay, okay. But it's funny, the day that that situation happened where the towers came down, I had just visited it f- for the first time. Yeah, I just visited for the first time ever, and then the next day it came down. It was crazy. So that was very crazy. And my sister worked in the buildings. I believe she worked in the first tower, and thankfully she managed to get out. But she was telling me all sorts of stuff. Um, you know, I don't think she'll see this stream, but she was telling me people were jumping out the windows, people were in the staircase praying. It was crazy. And then a lot of people were saying that it was a controlled demolition, and you know, a lot of people were saying that they heard a secondary explosion at the base, and I 100% believe that. It was a false flag attack to basically get people rallied behind this fake cause to go to war. And I think that's when they went out and got, I don't know if it was ISIS or Saddam Hussein, one of those guys. And they ended up getting people. Uh, and they used 9/11 as like this trigger point to get people to be like, yeah, let's go and get them. We gotta, and they did it to us. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. None of this shit is an accident. I do believe most, if not all of it, was planned, and it's a shame. It really is a shame. You know, I'm just, I, I'm fearful for what's going to happen next. Are we going to deal with another pandemic? Or are they gonna, what another bat is gonna get loose from a lab, and we're gonna go through, getting these so-called vaccines again? Are we gonna have World War III? Like, I'm concerned of what's happening. Looking at all of this crazy shit going on in the movies, games, all the woke and the mental illness being pushed into schools, trying to get our children hooked onto this bullshit. You got incompetent leaders. I don't know, man. This is a lot of crazy shit going on, and so that's why for me, when I wanted to start this channel, I I didn't want to just be the gaming guy. This is why I called myself Red Related. This is why I call my channel Red Related, because I speak on things that relates to me. And if they happen to relate to you, then I guess you'll probably subscribe or follow me or whatever. Um, because I never wanted to be like kind of like in acting where you only play comedy roles, and then all of a sudden if you want to play a drama, nobody's going to take you seriously. I didn't want to be that guy where I'm just only talking about one thing and one thing only, because I feel a lot of YouTubers will burn out that way. Because I mean, it's like you're eating the same thing over and over again. Like there's only so many ways you can make chicken, there's only so many ways you can make rice before you need to change it up a bit, you know but yeah, my gamer tag? Oh, okay. I know on Xbox, let me see. Xbox, it's basically the same as my YouTube channel. It's Red Related, actually. I made sure to I made sure to use red related, and that's one thing I learned about my experience in marketing was if you're trying to create a channel, you're trying to build your social media following, you're trying to build a business, try to find a name that you can use across several different platforms. Because I'm red related on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Well, I don't really do much with Facebook anymore, but yeah, Twitter, YouTube, uh TikTok, because my sister forced me to get a damn account, even though I wasn't really doing much with TikTok anyway. Instagram, if I didn't mention that. So I'm red related on all those platforms, even my Twitch. But I really need to start streaming more. But I have this, if I can show it here. This is my capture card, and I would love to afford a new one, but a brother is poor over in these parts, so I would like to get a newer capture card, but for right now, it's yeah. I try to do the best I can when it comes to posting gaming content, but I feel like posting some gaming content would probably help grow my channel a bit. But ironically, because I have an Xbox, you can't stream directly to YouTube like I'm doing right now. My only option is Twitch. So I'm like, eh. So I have to figure out how I want to do that. But yeah, to the point, getting back to just wanting to speak about multiple things. Um, I don't want to. Originally, I wanted my channel to be based or rooted in gaming and in fitness because I am a certified personal trainer. And a lot of my earlier videos on the channel and during the summer, I did, benefits of walking, how to properly do pull-ups and stuff like that. And, watch your diet and how walking is good for your mental health and all that stuff. But then I started shifting more so toward gaming. And because I feel like I can get more out of gaming, I can talk about the game, I can stream a game. I feel like I don't know if I really want to go too deep into the fitness aspect. And if I do, I think I should probably just make a secondary channel. So it's kind of like, the struggles, the mental struggles you have as a creator, because you're just always thinking like, did I do the best I could in this video? Did I make a good enough thumbnail? Did I tag it right? Did I make the best description? It's always, I wanted to make a video on that as well, just on people, people's way or how they should approach being a content creator. And I feel like, you know, I did make a couple of videos on that. I think it probably helped some people. It wasn't like videos that would set the world on fire or nothing, but I feel like it was if it could help like one person, that's what I prefer. Even when I'm doing a stream, or whatever, I'm open to talk about whatever people in the chat want to talk about. I'm just yapping right now because, you know, I don't know what else to do. So somebody want to talk about politics, we talk about politics. You want to talk about MMA fighting, cool. We talk about gaming, talk about relationships, talk about whatever, the weather. I'm a conversationalist through and through. And I think that's what kind of helps me as a content creator because I don't mind being on camera. In fact, I actually used to be on MTV a long time ago, back when I had, a little bit more hair and I was younger. I was part of this gaming group called Empire Arcadia. They're still around. I still have some good ties with them. And so those were the days. But for now, I wanted to just kind of create something uh, that I feel could benefit other people that may have the thought of also being a content creator. Because if you look at my channel, like the main page, and you'll see like when I started this channel 5 years ago, and I didn't do anything with it. I procrastinated. I I wanted to do everything right. I wanted everything to be perfect. I don't know if you can relate to that, you know, where you overanalyze something and you want to do it in a way where it's like your best work from Jump Street, from the very beginning. You just wanted to be godlike. You wanted to be perfect, flawless. And then you just end up not doing anything. And that's what happened to me. Um, and that's why my first video on the channel, I was like, you know what? I sat right here and I just hit record and I just started yapping. I started talking, whatever, just to kind of get the first video out to get the ball rolling. And, so far it's been a hit or miss. Um, I would say that my best performing videos, ironically, was uh, was based off of two games, Dragon Age: The Veilguard and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Two games, very very massive games that cost millions of dollars to make, that are the victims of DEI, and as a result, one game already failed. The damn creator, not the creator, well, the lead director, who happens to be a goddamn tranny, he ended up uh, jumping ship. So he left BioWare, the company that made Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and then Assassin's Creed, that's supposed to be coming out March 20th. It features a woman, a Japanese female ninja, and a black man, who I have said in the past they should just have him as DLC because he is not benefiting the game at all. And I went into detail about that in one particular video. That was my best video. It got me 1,800 something views. At that time, I had maybe 90 subscribers at the time. So it was like, imagine you get your very first, well, actually, it was my second video that was over 1,000. The first video was Dragon Age. But then it's like you get that rude awakening that the next video you post, I think the next video I posted, I got like 20 views. So that shit was very humbling. I'm thinking I'm riding high. I'm about to get monetized in like record time. And I'm like, damn, like, how come I had all these views and I got like, out of all the views I had, I think that video got me 33 subscribers, which I'm grateful for. I believe me, I love it. But I'm like, damn, over 1,000 views. And I'm thinking like, damn, if all those people subscribed, I would have already been monetized. So it's like, god damn, like it's just like, damn, why can't you just why can't they just subscribe? Like, that's kind of like what I say in my mind every time I post a video. I'm like, man, just, it ain't gonna kill you. Just hit subscribe, hit the bell. It's free. You don't even have to watch my video. Just fucking just let my video play in the background while you like cooking dinner or something. I don't you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. You try the best you can. You try to post videos that you feel that people are gonna watch. But I feel like when you're just starting out and you don't really have that core audience, you really don't know what the fuck they want to watch. So you just end up posting shit that you like, and then eventually, I guess, like-minded people, you're gonna come across people that happen to like what you like. And that ties into my channel's name, where people call me Red, and I call it Red Related. So I speak on topics that relates to me, and if they relate to you, and et cetera, et cetera. um but yeah, um Wendy, I tell you, when I was watching the so many of the content creators tear that game limb from limb. Holy shit. When I saw that character talking about I'm non-binary, I'm gonna go by they instead of she, I was like, oh my God. They really put this fuckery in a video game. you know, it's crazy when I did my first Dragon Age video because I did a few of them. I think I did 5 or so videos on Dragon Age. And when I did that first video and I was talking about, my thoughts on the initial gameplay, which people had an issue with, I actually thought the initial gameplay wasn't bad. I think it was a 20-minute video. And I liked the graphics. It looked cool. The combat was definitely better than what it was in the prior Dragon Age games. I'll definitely say that. The combat was much more fluid. It kind of reminded me like Batman Arkham Asylum style, where you can kind of go to this enemy and you weren't like uh you can cancel your attacks. And I feel that they did a good job with the combat, which is the main reason why I ended up buying the fucking game, honestly. But I already knew, learning that it was a tranny that was the director of the game, I already knew the shit was going to fail. I already knew it was going to be a dumpster fire. And then seeing the whole non-binary, I was like, man, look, if you guys look, if you're going to believe what you're going to believe, but do you have to push it into the game? Like, can't you just make a game? If you want to make it your own gay game, fine. And I say this, when I was speaking about Star Wars, I'm like, look, if you want to just call it Gay Wars. Just make your own fucking version. If you want to make your own version of Dragon Age, go and do that. But these people they just cannot help themselves. They have to keep going into our franchises that are already established, have an overwhelmingly strong man and woman normal normal community that don't want to see a man taking it up his one-way exit. We don't want to see a chick getting herself scissored. We don't want to see that bullshit. At least I don't. I want to see a quality story, be it a game, show, or movie. I don't want to see any of that extra shit. If that's what they want to do, and these companies still want to get their ESG money, which those are videos I talked about also about who is actually funding this whole DEI shit, which is environment, social governance. I think that's what it is. ESG, environmental social governance. I think that's what it is. But yeah, men are not women. There are two genders. This is not, you're gonna do a Mr. Potato Head to yourself. it's it's wild, man. This shit is fucking crazy. But I just you know what I got a lot of heat for? I'll be on my Instagram, right? And I started going into those Instagram threads. Oh man, a friend of mine told me I should stay away from it, but I was curious, and oh shit, and and this was during the Olympics, and I was so upset about this, that fucking man, the boxer that beat on that woman and made her quit in the ring. Uh that shit angered me, like, into my core. And this dude ended up getting a fucking gold medal out of that shit. And I'm calling it out. I'm seeing posts, people saying, "Oh, they're stunning and brave," and I'm reading this bullshit. And I'm like, it's a fucking man. Like, are you serious? That's a goddamn man. And the amount of heat and flames, posts I put up were taken down for hate speech and all kinds of bullshit. And I cannot tell you how overwhelmingly vindicated I felt when the news officially broke. I think it was sometime in October or November, where it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that that dude was a fucking dude. Even though I already knew this, but they could not publicly dispute that anymore. And best believe I went back to those same fucking threads and I had a field day. I was copying and pasting articles. I was like, you see, it was a goddamn man the whole time. And it's just the fact that you have people that are okay with men going into women's bathrooms, men competing in women's sports, taking women's sponsorship deals, because it gets deep. A lot of these women, they have dreams. They want to compete, whether for themselves to prove something to themselves, or maybe they want to represent their country. You know, they're going to college trying to get a scholarship, whatever it is, only to be upstaged by a fucking man. I man, you know, I it's almost like it almost leaves me speechless. And also my mouth is damn running dry as it is. I need to chug this water real quick. Oh man. But you know what? You are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. And that goes into another topic I can actually bring up. And it is the fact that so many people are so fearful to actually come out and say that all of this shit is mental illness. All every single the LGB they have a fucking letter added every other week. I can't keep up, so I call them the alphabet community. That's what I call them. Because I mean, it's a collection of letters, alphabet community. To me, it works. It's easy. It works. Whatever. And there are so many people that are so afraid to come forward and denounce this bullshit out of fear of being canceled, having their professional practice taken away from them. And I believe that there was something I read where they said that being gay or whatever is no longer considered a mental illness legally, but at one point it was. It was something that I read about that, and it doesn't surprise me that you have those that are sympathizers, those that go along with the status quo, go along with the that whole deal. And it's like I just can't. There's nothing that I just can't. It's all mental illness, and it's just sad to me that in this country, it is so heavily glorified and pushed to the masses, and they're using uh, video games, comics, movies, TV shows. They're literally using every single vehicle to push this message. And again, and I know I've said it time and time again, it is an agenda. And I've also learned that at the core of this agenda of the DEI and how it's ruining gaming, it's ruining Hollywood, or all it's ruining shit. At the core of it is companies like BlackRock, financial holding companies, and I've made videos about this on my YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't. But shameless plug. But in those early videos, I speak about DEI. I speak about ESG because people they have heard about DEI, but people may not have heard about ESG. And ESG is the faction, if you will, created by very top level companies like a BlackRock, like a State Street, like a Vanguard. These three financial holding companies control a very surprising amount of the world's currency. You will be surprised by how much power and influence these three companies control. And it's just staggering when I learned what I learned. And there are other companies that are that play into it, but those are the ones that I know for sure that created the parameter, the blueprint of what would be called DEI. And then in those videos, I learned that companies that abide by the DEI practices, depending on how many boxes they check off, it increases their ESG score. Now, there are two scores. You have one that's the overall high. If you have a high score, it's very favorable. But then you have another score that's representative of the ESG risk. The lower that score is, the better. And in that video, and I put a lot of work into those videos, a lot of work. At that time, I think I had 70 subscribers, so I didn't have many people subscribe to the channel. I bust my ass for that video, and it bothered me that it didn't get the traction I was hoping for, but it's still on my channel. And all of the information that's in that video, or any of those videos I spoke about this, is all relevant now. I also did a little bit of digging, and I learned of the companies like Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, BioWare, EA, all of those major gaming companies, because I was curious, what are their ESG scores? And what do you know? Ubisoft, I believe at the time, their ESG score was somewhere in the range of 14.7. And Disney, I checked Disney as well, and they're on there. Disney was 13. They're very low. So that explains to me why I see so much bullshit coming out of Disney, because they are ticking all of those DEI boxes to ensure that they get uh, um, as much favorable compensation, and that's just it. When you have a very low ESG risk, your company will be funded. You are incentivized to do all of this DEI shit. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. This is why when I make these videos in the past speaking about, the DEI from a video game standpoint, because I am a gamer first and foremost, but it's all connected. It's all connected. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about Hollywood, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, it's all connected. It's just that from a video game standpoint, I tackle because I want my channel to be more gaming related. But best believe If I really want to talk about politics and I feel that people would tune in, I would. Um, but it's just crazy when you learn how this whole thing works. You know, um, it is nice to see people rejecting it. People are starting to wake up. Um, you know, I've been seeing articles and news outlets saying that companies are starting to walk back a lot of their DEI initiatives. I've been seeing a lot of that. I think the most recent one I saw, and I hope it wasn't like a fake article, but I saw something about Amazon walking back its DEI initiatives. So it's a lot going on. uh it's to really explain how insidious this is. You have to understand that it is connected, and then to understand how. I was wondering, let's say, uh we'll take a pot. Let's say, hypothetically, you have Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto 6 that's coming out, right? I think it's pretty clear that that game is probably going to cost well over $1 million to make. Well over. Now, let's say if that game happens to be a commercial flop because they pushed an excessive amount of DEI, woke, that type of mental illness shit into the game. And so let's say the company Rockstar that makes the game, publishes the game, they will lose millions of dollars. But would you ask, if a company does that often, how are they not going out of business? How is a company able to have financial flop after financial flop and they still are alive? They're still doing business. I don't know if people realize this. And I know I was kind of going somewhere with the Grand Theft Auto analogy, but to expand it, let's say if Grand Theft Auto failed and then Rockstar makes another game and does the same thing, and that game flops and they lose hundreds of millions of dollars. How is Rockstar, and I'm just using this as an example, a hypothetical, how is Rockstar able to still maintain business? And their stock is going down, but they're not going out of business. The answer is something I've discovered. And the reason why a company like that isn't going out of business is because of ESG. When you are checking those boxes off, the DEI boxes, and you're having a very low ESG risk, outside companies are going to incentivize and help you, whether through money under the table, uh, uh, all sorts of different ways, and that's and maybe people can consider it a conspiracy theory, maybe, but I just feel like there is some where there's smoke, there's fire, because there's no way a company like Disney should still be in business with all of the commercial flops that it has had. There's no way. It has to be getting outside help. And again, at some point you're going to realize, why am I going to keep doing this if I'm losing money? If I'm making a Star Wars that's not making me the type of profit that it normally would, but I'm continually pushing the message, there has to be someone out of in the background giving me money without you noticing it, so I can keep funding the projects moving forward and pushing the agenda. That's what I feel is going on. 100%. That's what I feel is going on. Um, but I don't know. I mean, got two people in here right now, so I don't know if anybody wants to talk about Anything else? While I get a swig of water. Or I just keep yapping it up until I run out of water and have to go make a store run. But I don't know, man. I feel like if I just really want to just what I would love to see. Uh yeah, that's right. You gotta crawl before you walk. Gotta crawl before you walk. You know what? Honestly, uh 2 hours. Now I don't know. Maybe I guess I'll upload this. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna work this because, like I said, I've never done this before. But this has definitely been fun. I definitely look to do this again. I didn't think anybody was gonna even show up. You know what? I originally, uh, whoever is actually still here, the one person, I actually had the thought I was gonna go live. I was gonna yap, talk about whatever, and I was just gonna be like, all right, well, I'm gonna have a stream where I guess nobody is nobody is gonna watch, and I would just upload it or figure out what I'm gonna do. Um, but I was surprised a couple of people popped in, so I was kind of surprised about that. Um, and then got Miss Wendy here. Definitely appreciate and the CK and if I scroll down, scroll up, we got the guy that asked me about my politics and you know so that's pretty cool. Um, so right now, I think the last video that I made, if we're gonna go the gaming route, the last video I put out was about a game coming out called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I didn't play the first game. I have the first game. The first game came out in 2018. Um, I bought it. It was on sale maybe about 2 weeks ago because there's been a lot of hype surrounding it. Basically, it's a first person adventure set in 14th century medieval Bohemia. That's what they call it. So it looks good. The trailer looked cool. Uh, oh, you did watch that video. Okay. Well, I appreciate you. Um, oh, and if you notice, and as I said in the video, I was completely surprised that CapCut was banned. I was so, but actually, something crazy happened to me, and I was gonna say it in the video, but I was too embarrassed to admit it. Uh, actually, you know what? That's a good idea, CK. I actually, I actually had an idea to really talk about gin, but let me get back to this point here about this game. Uh, so yeah, so I was gonna the video, Wendy, that you watched. Uh, something I made a rookie mistake, right? So I recorded the video, but wouldn't you believe it that when I went to play the video back because I was gonna put it in my CapCut, I played the video back. It had no sound. My damn microphone was not active. I was like, oh my God. You mean to tell me I yapped about this whole situation for 24 minutes and the goddamn microphone wasn't live? So I was like, oh shit. So then I had to re record the video. And then that's when I was like, all right, I was satisfied with what I did. Yeah, I was so pissed off, man. I was like, God damn. And then when I went to go, all right, I'm gonna activate CapCut, and then lo and behold, I'm seeing a CapCut banned in the United States. I'm like, what the? How is? Because I did not know that CapCut was a part of the same parent company that TikTok was. You know, um, I didn't know. The thing is, I don't like using too many cuts in my videos, but I do like to, try to be a good YouTuber and put forth a little bit more B-roll, so people, not everybody likes to watch me yap in front of a brick wall, but I'm still, I think I have a pretty good system I'm working out, But what I really wanted to do with the video, the only thing I really wanted to do with that video was I wanted to play the trailer of Kingdom Come, the game. I wanted to play that in the background. I wanted to add a little B roll to it. That's what I wanted to do. So, but I'm glad that the video turned out well. I think it's like at 40 views or something like that. I'm happy for that. I'm moving up. Usually, I remember when my videos would get like 5 views. So, but sometimes it's funny when you're doing this YouTube thing. Videos you wouldn't think would get that much attention, like when I like with this guy CK, for instance, right? Talking about Tekken 8, and I talk about a character named Raven, right? He's a fighting game character. He's basically a ninja. So I make my opinions about the character in relation to the rest of the characters in the game of Tekken. And next thing I know, one video is getting 100 plus views. I think one video is like over 600 views. And I'm like, damn, really? So it was very surprising, to say the least. It was very surprising. Um, so it is interesting. You just never know what video will take off. And it reminds me of one video I watched, one of those creators that talk about how to grow on YouTube. I watch a lot of those. And this one lady, she said, you should not stop because you never know, you're one video away from going viral or one video away from changing your life. And I do agree. Uh, when I made some of my earlier content talking about my experiences on my YouTube journey, and the last video I made about that particular subject was uh um what was it was called you should keep posting even if nobody watches. The title was something like that. And that video had like, I think it ended at 350 views. I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. But I know making videos like that, it's not gaming related. So that's where I'm like, well, this YouTube thing can be a little confusing, a little tricky, because right now, well, even though I've had a few people unsubscribe, and that's annoying because I'm like, well, why would you unsubscribe? But whatever. So at based on what I know, before I started this stream, I had or have 269 subscribers. And are all of those 269 subscribers interested in me talking about video games? Probably not, because I made videos also talking about fitness that I gained subscribers from early in the spring and summer. So are those subscribers watching my gaming content? I don't know. So it kind of, I understand when people say to niche down, to focus on one thing, and I get it. And then I have seen videos of people talking about you shouldn't niche down. So it's like there's an argument to be made for either. But for me, I feel like if I'm gonna root myself in anything, I would prefer it to be in gaming as a whole, where I can talk about the issues going on with Assassin's Creed, and then I could talk about maybe a patch that happened for Tekken 8, or maybe the upcoming Virtua Fighter 6. You know what I'm saying? So I can do I can speak about whatever I need to within that gaming space. And I feel like it would still be relevant. But that's why I'm like, well, if I talk about something fitness related, I feel that would be of interest to people. So it's kind of tricky. That's why I was considering making a secondary channel and just focusing more on my personal training stuff and nutrition and mental health stuff, because I don't know how well that would do with me having more so focused on gaming with my last couple of videos. So I don't know, figuring that out. And Yes, CK. Yes, the words you use. Yes. So that's actually something recent when it comes to the description. Um, that's something that I picked up on about a few months back, but it's still relatively new, that YouTube uses a lot of AI. So a lot of, like, back in the day, like in the early, like 2015 or so, the use of tags in your video held a lot more prominence than it does now. And uh, a person's description is not, like, it's good to have a comprehensive YouTube description, but like you say, YouTube can literally scan the words you're using in the video to also to help it find its appropriate audience. So that is a real thing. Um, when it comes to shadow banning, I've seen a lot of different opinions on that. I've heard people, and these are from the so-called YouTube gurus, that there's no such thing as shadow banning. Um, actually, yes, I remember I watched a video. There was a YouTube employee. Apparently, he's a guy. Oh God, I forgot his name. He was on this one channel. I think it's called Think Media. Yeah, Think Media is one of those larger how to grow your YouTube channels. And I think he had somebody that he's the one that handles how the algorithm finds new channels and such like that. And he was addressing certain things that people have commonly said, that, oh, my channel is not growing because I'm shadow banned. And he says, we don't shadow ban, like, YouTube, we don't shadow ban. Now, obviously, if talk about something really egregious and you're really going off the deep end, that's different. But we don't really shadow ban. In fact, it's to our benefit to have smaller YouTube channels uh, grow. And I do believe that, because I have been seeing more smaller creators in my feed, and maybe even, the people who are watching, the four of you, uh, can probably attest to that. You've probably seen a um, smaller channels appear in your feed, even people that you have not subscribed to. You know what, Wendy? That's a good idea. In fact, I think I was kind of doing that without realizing it, honestly. I think I was doing that. If you scroll through my videos, you'll see I'll have a walking video, and then I do something in the park, and then I talk about Assassin's Creed. And so I was kind of doing it without really thinking about it. Um, Honestly, I will be honest. The last couple of months, I have been a little lazy. I'll be honest, with all the holidays and stuff like that. Um, but definitely, when the weather gets a little bit warmer, I'm gonna definitely head back to the not to. I don't really go to the gym. I got like this thing in my living room where I could do pull-ups and dips. I think I've had a few videos of me doing that stuff in there. In fact, I have had videos of me doing pull-ups and all that stuff there. Great investment, by the way. Um, and I wanted to. Oh, I did make one video where I had an action camera, one of those DJI Osmo cameras. It was like an action cam. Think of like a you call it with like a, what do you call that shit? The Pro. What do they call that fucking video? GoPro. Yeah. So but it wasn't a GoPro, it was a different brand. And I just could not get the I didn't like that in order for me to use it, um, you know, I had to like do a lot of things where I had to like reveal a lot of personal information. I wasn't a fan of that. So I made a video on that DJI video, the camera. And that, in fact, that video had like I think 700 or 800 views. So I was kind of surprised about that. But yeah, the walking videos definitely did very well for me. I was quite surprised. Um, because walking is one of those things, I would say, for anybody. It is like the redheaded stepchild of fitness. I think people feel that because it's something that you can just do willy-nilly, they don't regard it as working out. But it's 100% working out. You're definitely, you know you're not taxing your heart, you're not taxing your body as much, which is good for a lot of people who are overweight, and which puts a lot of pressure on their knees, their ankles, their hips and such. Walking is pretty much the best thing for those people. So when I see, like, if I want to just get into a little bit of a personal training kind of fitness thing right now, uh, when I see people trying to work out and they fail, I feel a lot of times they're setting the bar too high for themselves, especially when it comes to losing weight. People are trying to lose too much weight too fast, and they end up literally just killing their own confidence, and they feel like nothing's happening. They're putting in more effort than they normally would, but they don't see the change, and then they give up. And I've seen this in a lot of women. They'll emotionally eat. They'll eat their feelings, and they'll get even bigger. And it's sad. And I would say, you know what, uh, people. I would say that walking is one of the best things that you can do. It's very peaceful, depending on where you walk. If you walk someplace noisy, but if you just I just tell people, get out, pick a direction, don't think too hard about it, and just start walking. Download your favorite podcast to somebody you want to listen, maybe not me, maybe like a Joe Rogan, or somebody that's talking for X amount of time, and just listen to them, and just walk. I tell someone, just get started. Pick a direction, walk that direction 15 minutes, and walk back. And do that four times a week if you have the time. And little by little, over the course of time, go from 15 minutes, add maybe go for 20 minutes next time. And then slowly but surely, you'll find yourself walking for longer period of time, and longer distances. And you will surprise yourself. 100%. You will surprise yourself. You will shock yourself into doing things that you probably didn't think you could do. And as a personal trainer, the people I have worked with over the summer, I would literally just walk with them. I would say, look, of course I try to get a few dollars, because, a brother's poor over here. I'm struggling, sometimes I'll be wondering how I'm going to fill up this refrigerator, sometimes, but, I do what I can. But anyway, I digress. Um, I would say, look, I'll just walk with you, because sometimes a person just needs that extra reinforcement. Sometimes they just need to feel that person that's on the journey with them. And I think that's a lot of that is lost in the current fitness industry. I feel like the whole term a personal trainer has lost its meaning because it's almost like you go to a McDonald's. It's like a one size fit all. What you may need, you may be different than the next person. You may need extra attention. You may have an injury that you might need to be worked around. You might not be able to do squats. That person might be able to do lunges. You may not be able to have you probably don't have the leg strength or the flexibility to get into a proper squat. You may have knee valgus or the abduction the adduction of your knees where you get knock knee, and that causes a lot of other issues ranging from your hips and to your ankles. It can get messy. So you may have to learn or unlearn certain uh, biomechanical movements that you're so used to, that you're sitting and squatting wrong, and over the course of years you can develop certain back pain, certain knee pain, and you'd be like, damn, my knee hurt. But then come to find out, it might just be that your hip is out of alignment because it's all connected. And a lot of people don't realize that. So as a personal trainer, I I know some shit, and I tell people things, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that, even from a diet standpoint. When I tell people, if you're trying to get in shape, if you're trying to get in shape, to me, it's really not that hard. It really is not that hard. Now, it can be difficult if you're trying to do things really fast. Like for a person that is very much a soda drinker, let's just say. Typically, a can of soda is about 200, 250-ish calories. So if you were to eliminate the soda and replace it with boring ass water or tea for a period of time, that is potentially 500 or so calories you are eliminating every single day. And if you multiply that over the course of a week, we're talking about like what, 2 to 3,000 something calories. And if you pair that with just basic level activity of you going for a walk, you know, something that, like I said, pick a direction, walk for a period of time and walk back. If you add all that together, you are going to lose weight. You are going to see results, but you have to stick with it. You have to have that discipline to stay that course. Because I can tell you, when you step on that scale and you see a meaningful, and when I say meaningful, let me be clear about this. When you see weight coming off, in most cases, it's water weight. It's water weight. So that's why a lot of times when people would say, well, I lost 5 pounds and then, oh man, I gained it all back. You really just lost water weight, because water fluctuates in the body, especially with women, because women have a lot more hormonal stuff going on. So your retention of water is based off of the amount of sodium that you intake, because sodium bonds to water, and potassium helps release water. So this is why when people are, oh, look at you, Wendy, you fucking up drinking that goddamn soda. Look at you messing up, huh? Damn, I'm talking for no reason, I see. But it's all right. If just know, don't have a 6-pack of soda at least. But anyway, but I can't I'm a little bit guilty because, I've been a little bit off my diet, even though I'm still on weight. I'm still decent, but because I'm not going to let myself go. Uh, but um, but I'm definitely not at my best physically. But I'll get there. That's easy because I understand. I've done this several times. But I just feel like the smallest changes can have the biggest impact. Just simply swapping out, because really all soda is just liquid calories, liquid candy. That's what it is. It has no nutritional benefit whatsoever. It's additional calories. So you figure um people, the general consensus is 3,500 calories is 1 pound, 1 pound of weight, whatever. So if you're eating, even if you're eating well, let's say if you're eating, I don't know, 2,000 calories, you're eating 2,000 calories a day. Well, if you add the soda, well, now you bump that up to 4,000, 3,000, and then over the course of time, that's when the weight starts to add up. That's what happens. That's what happens. The thing is, CK, I've had this whole real talk with Red for a long time. This is just my first. Like I would always do it with my friends, and so I was thinking what I wanted to call this stream, because like I said, I didn't think anybody was going to join this shit anyway. I was going to just try it out, and here I am, damn near 2.5 hours later. I feel like I just went through a Lord of the Rings movie. The amount of time I've been on here so far. But yeah, so yeah, I got health, wellness, gaming, politics. Yeah, I you know I think that's kind of what Wendy pretty much said, and something that I kind of did early on without realizing it was, I would do, you know a video about A, and then maybe the third or fourth video, I would do a video on B, and then cycle it through. And then there's also this option when you upload on YouTube. Before you upload, you can hit a check mark or uncheck, to where your subscribers won't be notified of your video. So I was thinking about doing that just to test out something, uh, because at least that way I would know that if I do get a decent sized chunk of views, I would probably know it's not my subscribers. It will be more than, like, it'll be more new people. So I was thinking about, trying that out or whatnot. Uh and that, that's the thing. Streaming, I do know is great. I've learned, at least from the Twitch side, that, for instance, this has been about 2 hours and 27 minutes, right? So I guess I have about, I don't know, the watch time multiplies based on the amount of people that's in your stream. So that's kind of, it's a good thing. It's a way to rack up a lot of watch time, especially as a creator. But because I wanted to, play Xbox, and I have an Xbox Series X, um, Microsoft, whatever, you can't stream directly to YouTube. I have to stream to Twitch. Even though I heard of certain programs that will allow you to stream on across different platforms. I heard you can stream to Twitch, and then it could also appear on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I ain't advanced like that. So, but I then learned becoming a Twitch partner is actually not that hard, from what I understood. Like, I think they said you have to stream for 7 days within a month, which I did. You have to have an average of 3 viewers per stream, which isn't that difficult. And you have to have about 50 followers on Twitch. And then that's when you can apply for monetization on Twitch. So that's when I thought, okay, maybe I can go that route, do the Twitch, because that was my plan. I'm going to tell you what my plan is. My plan is to get monetized on Twitch, Twitch partner. I think they call it a Twitch affiliate. hopefully at some point in time before I turn 80 years old, get monetized on YouTube. Uh, Also apply for the Amazon affiliate program so that I can sell my, or well, not really sell directly, but utilize affiliate links to my subscribers. So, for instance, I would recommend things that I know for a fact works for me or I did extensive knowledge on. Like, for instance, this little power tower I have that I do my pull ups and stuff, I would 100% utilize that as a link in videos, probably my fitness videos, and be like, look, if you are short on time and going to the gym and you want something that you can kind of have access to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this product right here will work wonders for you. This is the Sports Royal Power Tower. It has a 400-pound weight capacity limit. So even if you're a little bit overweight, you're over 200 pounds, you're still able to get great use out of this product, whether or not you're doing pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, push-ups. You can work your abs in the captain's chair. There's many different variations of exercise. So you see, I'm already selling this thing. Look at that. But anyway, it's pretty interesting. But I am glad, Wendy, that the algorithm served me well and put this stream into your feed somehow. And let's see, people have ADD. If you're all over the place, people lose interest and leave. That's the thing, yeah. And that's ADHD, yeah. Um, typically when I watch other people's streams, a lot of times they're playing a video game, and they're playing a game and they're probably talking about some. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys watch other people's streams. You know what I'm talking about. And they'll probably respond to somebody in the chat. And then a lot of times the people in the chat are having conversation amongst themselves. So it's kind of, you know, so I don't know. That's definitely something for me to, I guess, get better at. But yeah, you know, but I'm not too sure, you know, what I'm going or how I'm going to approach this whole Twitch streaming thing because I can stream directly to Twitch using my Xbox. But then it's like I'll have to figure out how to do the Twitch VODs. I've heard people they'll cut, edit it some way, and then they'll upload portions of the stream that they did on Twitch to YouTube, and so it's a lot for me to figure out still. But I definitely want to do this full time. This is my plan. Um, I do have a lot of time on my hands, thankfully. I'm in a position where I can, and that's really the reason why I wanted to do this because I felt like there's no way I felt I could have done this effectively if I was really still working long hours because I used to slave away at Amazon for 10-hour shifts and whatnot. But yeah, I would say maybe I'll do a test stream on Twitch and just kind of because my stream on my Twitch ID, my Twitch name is the same name as everything. It's Red related. So if you go to Twitch, CK, if you go to Twitch, and you type in Red related exactly as it's on my YouTube and everything else, you'll see I think I have maybe 4 followers there. I really haven't done much on it. But my rank, what am I, Tekken King? So, and it took it was a lot for me to even get that, and because I was floating between Kaishin and Bushin for a while. But maybe I'll stream on Twitch for a bit for Tekken, see how that goes. See how the quality is on Xbox when I start to edit it. I want to see. Hopefully, it's not grainy, and because I look at other people's streams and it looks very clear, it's crisp, and so I like that. I'd want to have a good viewing experience. But yeah, man. So definitely, I need to get into the streaming. I hope eventually I get enough money to buy a new one of these. Uh, there was, I know Elgato. They got like these newer capture cards. I don't need nothing too fancy because uh, my laptop is a 1080p laptop, so I feel like even if I had a 4K capture card, I don't know if it would really matter given that my laptop is not 4K. So it's kind of like, I feel like maybe it would be a waste of money for me to do that. So I would just stick with like a 1080p 60 frames per second capture card, and just, see how that goes, whenever I'm able to afford one. But yeah, Tekken Emperor for rank made it to God. I guess you meant Tekken God, but lost it. The thing is, when it comes to those online ranks, I don't care about those ranks. There was a time I used to, when I used to play. Oh God, I was playing Tekken 6, Tekken 7, where I'm like the fifth ranking lay player for Tekken 7. Um Tekken Tag Tournament 1, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Or wait, did Tekken Tag Tournament 1 have online? Whatever. But definitely Tekken Tag Tournament 2. That's how long ago this was. And the online net code for those games were absolutely horrible. It literally felt like I was playing somebody that was on a moon, a Mars colony. Like it was ridiculous. Um, but you know, I I do think that the net code for Tekken 8 is not that bad. I've played better net codes. Killer Instinct on Xbox had a great net code. I think Street Fighter 6 has a good net code. Um, but Tekken 8 is not bad. Tekken 8 is not bad net code. But using a character like Raven, and it's like most of the time now, I'm just like, I just want to try things out. And you know, losing to a scrubby Jin or getting uh, grabbed by King, I'm just like, what it is, the amount of mental brain energy that I need to win against those bullshit characters. Sometimes I don't feel like putting forth the effort, and I'm just like, look, and like I'll literally say to myself, like, clearly this guy wants to win far more than I do. So I'm like, whatever. I don't even give a shit, Um, you know, but Tekken, yeah, it is mental gymnastics. It is so, you know, there's a level of mental requirement that characters like Raven and Lei, uh, and that's another video I wanted to do, was like kind of like the inherent differences, but because Lei is not in, I just didn't bother making it. But Lei and Raven are very similar in certain respects, where they are thinking man's characters. But it's Lei that you don't need a lot of conditioning with Lei. With Lei, you have to factor in what stance you're in, what moves you have access to in those stances, which stance are you going to appear in, whether you sidestep into the foreground or background. And you have to also know your frame data of all the moves in those stances to know when you're negative and when you're at advantage. So a lot of the complexity with Lei was just understanding what stance you're in, what moves you have, and to use them at a moment's notice. With Raven, Raven is more conditioning the opponent, because if you cannot condition your opponent, there's a lot of moves with Raven that you're just not able to get to. And then you're kind of stuck using the same basic level moves, and a lot of the other characters in the game, their basic moves are better than Raven's. So in order to get access to a lot of Raven's better moves, you have to condition the opponent for you to be able to do the shit. But at the same time you're conditioning the opponent, you have to factor in, you have to deal with their flow chart. You have to deal with their priority. You have to also deal with the fact, are they going to do a rage art? You have to deal with their heat. So it becomes a lot of mental stack. So for me, if I'm just not in the mood, if I just want to boot up Tekken and just try out some theory I have at Raven, and I'm playing some guy who's using fucking Nina or Feng Wei, and they're playing me like it's grand finals at Evo, I'm like, bro, it's not that. I don't even give a shit. Yeah, you got it. Like, I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting no money beating this guy's ass. What? I'm getting a rank? Give me a break. Like, what if those ranks meant something, that might be different. Like, but they're just, they look nice. They look nice. I'll give it that. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. All right, shit. We in the same generation. I'm 40. Well, I'll be 45 in September this year. And man, oh man, Yoshimitsu. Oh my God, Brian Fury. Oh Jesus. I so would love to go on and just get to a point where I can do collaborations with bigger channels. I would love to have a conversation with the main man and just tell him, bro, I get it. You are a fellow OG like myself, but you're more known. But there is no way in hell, Brian is the most difficult character in Tekken. That is horseshit. That is I would tell him straight up, you are confusing, or you are taking a character that has one difficult move with the taunt jet upper tactic, and you are basically blanketing that one difficult thing the character has to make it that the entire character is this hard character. Bullshit. I have played Brian Fury's in Tekken 8 more than I thought I would. I thought I was going to play a whole bunch of army of Jin players. I've been playing mostly Brian's, Reina's. That bitch is brain dead. I can't stand that goddamn character. But Brian, it's like everything is a counter hit. He has a very good 1-2-1 game. Steve, I can't even say Steve is hard anymore. I really wanted, because I'm cool with my man Shinblade. He's arguably the best Steve player in the United States, and we'll talk privately, in Messenger, and but even Steve, I just feel like Steve just lost his identity as far as I'm concerned. Steve, to me, is the new Feng Wei. Steve is a British Feng Wei. Over here, over here, over here, over here. Like, that shit, that's not a boxer. That's Kempo step from Feng Wei. That's what that is. If Namco wanted to do something, and I actually mentioned this on Shinblade's stream one time, they should have because I train in boxing as well, and they should have gave him a check left hook. Basically, it would operate the same way as Nina's up back one, her little evasive move where she steps to the side and does that move with her left hand. Well, in fact, let me see. Maybe I was gonna stand up and do this shit. Fuck it, we doing the stream. Fuck it, let me try this shit. Hold up. Oh, let me get the AI tracking. So let me put this to the use. Let's see. Come on. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, now we got the AI tracking. Okay, so basically, as a boxer, if you're in your stance, if you're standing like orthodox stance, basically, this is my left. So basically, you would go here. So now the person coming toward you, it's like you're a matador. You basically sidestep them and come over with the hook like so. Now you would hook going upward because a lot of times people are coming at you with punches of their own. So you're going over and down to go over their extended lead hand, which is or their right hand, depending on the direction. But I felt like 100%. It's pretty cool how this thing tracks, right? So I definitely felt that Steve should have had. Oh, hold on. Let's see. There we go. Come on. All right. Yeah. So I kind of felt like Steve Fox should have just had a check left hook, and then people in the chat were saying, "Well, that's what he has back one for," and I'm like, back one is just a lead left, and I can tell I'm talking to people who don't understand boxing, so I'm like, a lead left hook is not the same as a check hook. But anyway, I'm getting into other territory right now, but yeah, man. I just don't know if I can really consider Steve difficult. I just maybe he is, but I just feel that a lot of Steve players, they're playing this over here business, and I don't see the difficulty on that. I really don't. And also when they do that that uppercut move, I believe it's -13. So it's actually not that bad on block. Now, if it was like Raven and it was like -14, that's different. But yeah, I don't know. But I don't know, man. It's I'm just right now I'm wondering what's going to happen with CapCut because I mean that's my editing software. And oh, good. I'm glad, CK, that you pick up what I'm putting down. Like I'm glad of that. I'm glad of that. But yeah, man, like, can you imagine Steve Fox having a check? That would look beautiful. Like, I don't know how the Tekken team did not think of that. How do you not give a middleweight boxer like a Steve Fox a check left hook? Obviously, it will be a high attack. It would be an evasive strike. Now, I would wonder, like, would I allow him to go into flicker from that? Would I allow him to be into peekaboo? And that's another thing. I would like to see Steve, and I don't think this would break the character too much, but I would like to see Steve have the ability, since he can block while he's in peekaboo stance, he can auto block. I find it weird that he can't walk backwards. And it would be cool if he could do a little dash, like a forward dash. I think it's kind of silly. He just walks lumbering forward like so. I don't know. But I just think that when it comes to Steve Fox, there is one crazy move that is ridiculous. I will say they should patch this move. It's quarter circle forward 2. It's this low punch that he has. That shit is launch punishable. I think it's -19. It's like a Raven move. It's like a move that needs to be buffed. It does absolutely nothing on hit. It really doesn't do anything on counter hit. I think it puts if you do the move and hold forward, it puts him in peekaboo stance at +2. I think it's some bullshit like that. So I do feel if a Steve player is complaining about that move, I 100% agree. But outside of that, to me, Steve has become. They should just call the character over here. That's what they should call Steve Fox. Over here, over here, over here, over here. Like that's what that's what he looks like to me, honestly. Um, but some people might disagree. But yeah, man. You know, Feng is good. Feng is I think Feng Wei is an interesting one because Feng is a character that I use Feng Wei as well. I use Feng Wei very well. In fact, I use a lot of the top tiers very well. I just choose not to. I just choose to use Raven. But if I'm playing like my friends and I just want to screw around, I'll pick Nina and maul them together. I'll just maul them with with the little annoying poke string she got. But I don't feel satisfied. I feel like if I win with Nina, I was supposed to. Like that. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm losing with Nina because hey, I don't know what even to say. Like when you lose with a character like Nina or Jin, it's like okay, But when you play a character like Raven, you're going up against. There's a lot going up against you. A lot going up against you, and I just feel that the character definitely does need to be buffed. I don't need him being broken, but I'm very interested in seeing if Namco is going to do meaningful nerfs to the top tier characters of Tekken 8 because Yoshimitsu is borderline broken. Jin should be nerfed into the abyss. King is absolute bullshit. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on. I can compare move for move. People want to say, oh, you're just saying that. No, I can tell you 100% that, first of all, no character, as I said in one of my videos, no character should have an unbreakable grab. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The shit does that little arcade KO he does, shit does 45 damage. You can't break it, and it puts him in heat. Come on, man. Come on, bro. So I gotta deal with that shit and his all the offense. So it's just retarded, man. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like Raven, yeah, like I agree. The top 10 characters of Tekken 8, definitely the top 3 are broken. Top 10, they definitely need to be looked at. And let me tell you this. Uh, I probably said this like what 2 hours ago. We're approaching. It's crazy. I've been doing this for 3 hours. It's crazy, right? Um, the Jin definitely should have been addressed basically during the closed beta. 100%. He should have been addressed during the closed beta, but he was not, and he has not had any meaningful nerfs. And when I look at a move like down two, right, everybody's favorite Jin move, right? Uh, that move, that move needs to be absolutely nerfed into the ground. How do you have a 22 frame low attack that sweeps across the ground, that is a perfect high crush, that is only minus 14 on block, meaning that only very specific characters can launch at minus 14, by the way. I know Jun, Raven, Jin can launch at minus 14. Kazuya can launch at 13. But a lot of the other cast, they can't launch at minus 14. So Jin can essentially just run that move into the ground. And on counter hit, which is not hard to get a counter hit with that move, you get a full fucking combo. It's oh my god. That's exactly that's a stance that I believe the main man actually says. Um, he and a couple other creators mentioned that they much rather keep the characters where they are and just buff the characters that need to be brought up. So everybody has some shit. You know what I'm saying? And even in the Mortal Kombat community, because I follow that, I was also MK player. My man Tom Brady, excellent YouTuber. Um, he, I always love watching him complain about Mortal Kombat One. Um, but he definitely says, look, just leave the top tiers alone and just buff the low tiers to where now everybody, because if everybody is top tier, it's like if everybody is rich, then the concept of being rich and poor goes out the window because everybody has money. So that right there is definitely a direction I feel that they probably can I feel that they can take the game to, in my opinion. Because right now, the way it is right now, it ain't it. It ain't it, man. Like that's why I said in one of those Raven videos I made, I don't know, because I think I made two videos on what I feel Raven should have patched or buffed, and I made the big video that everybody seemed to be liking, and that's like I don't know, maybe has 700 views at this point, where I said Raven is the worst character. And believe me, I didn't mean to use that as clickbait. I really do believe he is the worst character in the game. When I compare him against the rest of the cast, but you know, I just feel like if everybody can, if everybody was on a similar level, or at least similar, a lot of these arguments of people being broken and that would go out the window. Then it would just be people who are playing the character they want to play, not playing the character they have to feel like they have to play to just compete. This is why you get so many tournaments that only have a game that has 30 characters, only four of them are in the top 10 or top five or top eight. It's ridiculous. It is really ridiculous. But you know, what can you do? It's you know when my approach to Raven is very condition based, 50-50. um I'm not trying to do a lot of the launch punishable shit. you know but then you got other people that may play Raven a little bit more safe. Some people might rely on the clone. Some people might rush down. So there's always more than one way to approach a character. But I do feel that there is a fundamental blueprint that I believe that every character in every fighting game has. I found because I play Street Fighter 6 as well. And when I look at it, characters like Aki, for instance, I felt I liked her. And uh, well, okay, so I'm glad you rose that question or statement. So the rounds too quick. The rounds, I I feel a Tekken round will last as quick or as long based on the two people playing in the match. For instance, me, I pride myself on my defense. I'm very good. I know the game. There really isn't much somebody can run on me that I probably haven't seen already. Um, and I'm very good at being safe with my with Raven. I'm very good at being safe, using his safe moves. And I feel when you're conditioning a player, you do have to you do have to make some reads. You have to kind of feel like, okay, I've done this move 3 times, and every single time they mash the jet. All right, let me walk you through a sequence. Let me walk you through a Raven sequence. Give you a little exclusive here. So, one of the moves that I feel that Raven does have that is exceptionally good is his down forward three. It's a very good high crush counter hit launcher that is 16 frames. And that move pairs very well with down forward two, which is his 16 frame launcher, the elbow, right? Now, that elbow on block, it is punishable, but if you do down forward 2-3, the 3 will catch the person mashing, but if they make the read on you, they'll duck the 3 and launch you. So there's a lot of mental stack there. So what I end up usually doing, especially if I don't, if I have about half life left to where I know one combo will kill me, I'll instead, and I do sacrifice a launch. I do sacrifice a launch. I may instead do back 4-4 because that's 14 frames. Because I know if they block that, I can kind of get out of the stance. I'm not putting myself too much at risk. So what ends up happening is this: if I jab you, as I also look at it almost like a real fight, like boxing. If I jab you, if I put something on your guard, if I jab you, you're going to want to try to retaliate against me. So if I jab and I slip, I know something is coming back. So in Tekken, I apply the same premise. If I jab somebody, I already know a jab is +1. So I already know if you throwing something back, you're not respecting the frames. So I'm gonna like a boxer. First round, I'm filling you out. I'm like, okay, I throw a jab, maybe a 1-2. Oh, did he mash? Okay. Mental note. Okay. Throw a jab, do a down forward 1. If you block the jab or do down forward 1, you mash, you hit me. Okay, cool. All right, bet. At some point in time, jab, you mash, down forward 3. Thank you for giving up 80% of your life. That's it. There's so many different ways you can condition a player. Much like if I was sparring somebody in a ring, I'll just keep poking them, jab, hitting their glove, hitting their shoulder, putting it out there in their face. There's so many. So I approach things. I approach it probably not in the way that other people would, because I see it from a different lens. Because I figured it out a long time ago when I started to learn about frame data. I was like, yo, this is like a regular fight. If I jab you, more than likely you're gonna want to try to throw one back. Oh, this damn thing is moving again. Okay, hold on. All right, let me just put this here. Yeah, so more than likely you're gonna want to throw one back. So this is where I would bait you. I would condition you. I would throw a jab. I would throw a 1-2. Are you going to catch counter? Are you gonna slit? Are you gonna roll? What type? What are you gonna do? So once I download it and figure, okay, so he's the type. Okay, I throw the jab. Okay, he's gonna slip, whatever. Bam, come up with the uppercut, whatever. You make the read. Now you can make a bad read, but at the end of the day, you got to do something. And I feel like that's what has been making me successful using Raven, because I make good reads and I utilize moves that don't, if they are blocked, it's not death for me. So the people that run the quicksand, the fucking hell sweep move that Raven has, they can run that. I fought Ravens online that were like Tekken Emperor. I think I played one guy that was a Tekken god. And that dude, I mean, he was running that mix up left and right every time. He did the quicksand, he did this, and he dropped from the sky, hit me again. If he hit me like 3 times in a row, and he was feeling himself. And eventually, once I caught on and I blocked that shit and launched him and took 90 damage from him, well, he wasn't doing it so much. And then he didn't really have much else. I think what he was trying to do, he was trying to, what was he doing? God, I think he was trying to hit me with 3-4, the little cartwheel move that Raven has, which is also a good move. But once I realized I shut down his main tool. His main tool was to do that 50-50 mix of quicksand into while standing one. That was his bread and butter. And once I shut that down, that was it for him. Same thing in combat. If I know, or typically in boxing, if you can shut somebody's jab down, you you kind of won half the match. Half the match is done already. If you could shut someone's jab down, it's kind of done. So I apply the same premise. I cannot believe I am still yapping. It is 3 hours. Damn. Oh man. I'll probably even get me something to eat, or probably get me something to drink. See what I can get from the bodega. But but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's all contributing to the channel. That's how I look at it. You know, and then there's, well, excluding you, there's three other people here, unless they just decide to leave. I don't know who the other three people are. I know there was a lady Wendy in here. I don't know if she's still in here or not. Wait, can I actually see who's in here? Oh no, okay. I guess you can't do that. Um, oh yeah. I think I've seen. Yes, Demon Flow Gaming. Yes, wow, very familiar. Um, but definitely a fellow content creator, and definitely much continued success on your own YouTube journey, sir. And okay, Miss Wendy is still here. Kind of surprised that anybody is here, actually. But at the end of the day, I think I should get more into streaming. This is fun. I mean, deep down, I do love to run my mouth. I really do. I really do, because I do have a lot to talk about. But when forming it into a YouTube video, it's like, now I have seen channels that I I would like to fashion myself after, but my own spin. You know, those channels that they'll cover multiple uh multiple articles. Like, instead of, like, they'll say, okay, well, in this video, this is happening with Ubisoft, and this is happening with Microsoft, and this is what happening with Tekken. And then, and it's like, I think because they have the audience for that. And that's one thing I definitely want to say is, you know, smaller channels don't we don't play by the same rules as a channel that's much larger, especially those channels where they're outsourcing their thumbnails. They literally have whole teams that make their thumbnails, create their descriptions, create their titles. Literally all they're doing is just sitting their ass down in front of a camera and yapping it up. That's literally all they're doing. And when you're starting out, like me, you know I'm the I'm the editor, I'm the talent, I'm the guy with the lighting. I'm everything. So it's crazy. So it definitely takes time, 100%, but yeah, man, it's definitely the one man band. Facts. We do what we do. And but yeah, CK, you got to type in Red Related, and that's with a one, not like exactly as it is, because at least I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. And also, I'm on Xbox, so that might be. I don't know if that makes a difference too. You might be on PlayStation or something. Oh, you found me. Well, if anything, you can leave your name and I can just find you, and that'll probably just make it easy. I can just do that. Uh I don't know if I'm gonna get on Tekken today though. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like dealing with all that. Oh, you on PC. Okay, PC Master Race. Okay, I gotta watch out for you. You might be one of those guys that be modding, and I might be fighting Vegeta or some shit. Yeah, man. I think one time I came across this one guy. I was fighting Goku. It was the damnedest shit out. He was Lars, but I was like, what the hell is this shit? Man, I tell you, man, them PC players, man, they be doing all sorts of crazy shit with these games. You know, I'm not about that life. I'm just a lowly Xbox console guy. I don't know nothing about that mod world. I don't know about all that nonsense. But yeah, the Demon Flow, I would definitely say frame data is very, very important. Um Actually, CK, leave that gamer tag in one of my YouTube videos. So that way I know for a fact I'll get the notification and then I'll just look at it there. On stream, I'll probably, I don't know, whatever, but I think it'll be easier. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it, brother. And but yeah, Demon Flow, I'll definitely tell you, in order to really get ahead in any fighting game, you have to know your frame data. You have to understand what's happening to you and why it's happening to you. And I don't care if it's King of Fighters, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you have to. And that's what separates the good that's what separates the scrubs from the average players, and the average players from the experts, and the experts from the masters, and the masters from the elites, is your understanding of the frame data and then how to leverage it to your advantage. And me, I would consider I'm an expert level Tekken player. Like overall, with Lei, my character, I'm a master. But as a Tekken player, just being honest, like I'm an expert. I don't break grabs like a Korean. I don't sidestep a lot of things I probably should have. And so a lot of those skills, I've always lacked in. But then again, when you use a character like Lei, you can lay on the ground. So I don't really need to do all of that. I can lay on the ground, avoid a lot of moves, and just, but when you're playing a character that can't do that, you have to kind of stand there and be there for everything. You have to kind of sidestep and this, that, and the other. And then and it's bad that Tekken doesn't exactly have the best sidesteps. I mean, I give that to Virtua Fighter. Um, Only Tekken I've ever seen a move where I'm using my right arm straight forward, but I have to sidestep going to my left. Like, it's a straightforward move. I should be able to step it either direction. It's a fucking linear move. It's not like I'm doing a hook. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a straight line move. So how am I getting clipped? Like, whatever. Um Soul Calibur definitely had excellent, excellent movement, but um I'll tell you what really killed Soul Calibur. Damn, I feel like I'm going every fucking where here. What really killed Soul Calibur was the developer adding in these new gimmick mechanics every game. I remember, right? You're 2 years older than me, so you'll know this. Soul Calibur 1 and Soul Calibur 2, for me, that was like the best shit. That was the best era. But even yeah, because I remember I played Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. That shit was I love that shit. And then when they came out with Soul Calibur 3, that was a PlayStation exclusive. So I had to go to my friend's house to play that. And they had a mechanic. I remember the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. VC cancels. Um, I remember where Mitsurugi. I never got used to the notation of the community, I would just say going sidestep up, and they would go, "Oh, this is 6-6B." I never got into that lingo, but basically, when you're sidestepping going up, and Mitsurugi does that overhead slash move that looks mad cool and knocks you down. But in Soul Calibur 3, um, he could cancel the recovery animation and just do it again and do it again. And it really broke the fucking game because you had some characters that just did it better. So when Mitsurugi did it, Mitsurugi would just, he would come down with the sword like this. It would knock you, it would knock you down. But because he was able to cancel the follow through, he was able to gain a combo follow up after that. And other characters had even more crazy shit. And then in Soul Calibur 4, you had that annoying ass character Hilda. She was completely broken. And then I think that's the game that also had was that no, I'm thinking about Soul Calibur 5. That stupid character that shot those orbs that sat in the throne that warped around the stage. I couldn't stand that fucker. And then you had a character, I think her name was she had a crystal ball. God, I think she was Soul Calibur 5 as well. Viola. Oh my god, that bitch was stupid. Jesus Christ, that card. Oh my god, man. Like she literally felt like I was fighting a Marvel vs. Capcom character. And then a friend of mine, he used I think this is Soul Calibur 6 now, a character called Grow. And I think he had like a wolf or something or some crazy shit. And he had a weapon that could detach. It was like a singular blade, and then he can detach it. And it had this stupid mechanic of Soul Calibur 6 where, and I think actually the whole heat system kind of reminds me of the mechanic they had in Soul Calibur 6, where you activate it and then all I remember is I think Killick, when he activated this thing, his hair got long or something. Or maybe I'm thinking, I know Jamie in Street Fighter 6 has it, but that's a different game. But I just remember in Soul Calibur 6, there was a mechanic where if you activate this particular thing, the character for a period of time becomes like a Super Saiyan version of themselves. It was a pain in the ass. And that's what the heat system kind of reminds me of. But yeah, I heard about the reversal edge thing. I played Soul Calibur 6 for maybe a month. I was like, fuck this game. You know, I knew I'm still cool with him but it's been a while. He was very well known in the Soul Calibur community. Kid Disaster. We just called him KDZ. Very strong Soul Calibur player. Um, I think he was a Cassandra and Sophidia player, but he can play basically everybody. And he was very, very strong. Um, you feel what do you feel is better than Tekken 8? Soul Cal Oh, really? You feel Soul Calibur 6 is better than Tekken 8? Wow. I can't even argue. I can't argue. Maybe somebody else in the chat can do that because I didn't play I didn't play Soul Calibur 6 long enough. So a lot of the reversal edges and stuff like that, I didn't really experience all that nonsense. Soul Calibur 5, I played. 4, I played a few tournaments, so but 6, I didn't really have much information. So if you feel that game is better than Tekken 8, I can't really argue because I don't know. But maybe it is. Maybe it is. Um, but I do know that the demise of Soul Calibur as a franchise what was based on a lot of those stupid mechanics. I feel that once they got away from the basics of you know, vertical slash, horizontal slash, your GI, guard impact, deflect. Once they got away from that, I feel like that's when they went. It was too crazy. They went too crazy with the shit, and I have a feeling that I feel that they're kind of going in that direction with Tekken 8 in some respects. Oh yeah, props to you playing SC3 in tournament. Um, I I went to a few locals, but I wouldn't say it was anything significant. And also the VC cancels were just really annoying. Characters that were, in fact, there is a video of me. There is a video, a Soul Calibur video. You guys can do your investigative reporting here because this was before this channel. And truth be told, I'll tell you this. This is not my first YouTube channel. I do have another YouTube channel, and I didn't. And the thing is, and I want to address what Demon Flow said, but I just want to finish this point. The channel I had, it's still live. I haven't taken it down. I just haven't really told anybody. Only the people that really know me know of its existence. Because a lot of the shit that I was saying back then, like, would probably get me canceled by today's standards. I was wilding out. I mean, I was like in my 20s, late 20s. This was when I was still running with my group Empire Arcadia. We were going to different tournaments, destroying everybody. And so there was one tournament I went to in Brooklyn where I fought, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Soul Calibur 4. Was it 4? No, I think it was 5. I think it was 5. And so I played this guy. I think his name was Zychek. And cool guy. A little off, but he was a cool guy. And he was using Mitsurugi, and I'm using Maxi. Now, Maxi was typically my main character. Even though I also love Taki, but I think I didn't like Taki in that game, and I think it was Soul Calibur 5 we were playing, but the video is on YouTube. You could just type in Blood Red Soul Calibur or something like that, and it should pop up. And this guy hit me with what I couldn't stand was this. I remember he hit me with that move where, again, with Mitsurugi, he would sidestep going up and he would hit vertical slash, and then he gained a guaranteed they had super moves in that game where, like, you use meter and Mitsurugi did some move and he hit you here and then he slash you back down to the ground. I didn't know that shit linked. I didn't know it comboed. So every time he hit me with that sidestep move, he just did that super. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was I was livid. I was livid. I was talking so much shit. I was like, fuck this game. This game is bullshit. I don't think they caught that because I was on stream too. So I don't know if they caught it in the video. But that was an experience. That was definitely an experience. But let's see. You say Tekken 8 is probably the best fighting game out right now. I don't know, man. I kind of feel Street Fighter 6 is better, man. I feel it's a better overall game. I feel it's better overall game, man. Um, I feel like I feel like all most of the characters can fight each other. Like, it has tiers, but I don't know. I can tell you I enjoy playing Street Fighter more than I play Tekken. I can tell you that much. The only reason why I think I'm sticking with Tekken 8, aside from doing a little bit of content here and there, is because I really enjoy the challenge of using Raven. Um, but I think if Raven wasn't in the game, I think I would have really lost interest playing Tekken 8. And you know, but Street Fighter 6, once I understood the mechanics of the games, I feel like I feel like Street Fighter 6 has way better mechanics with its punish counter system, the drive gauge. I feel like the whole heat system for Tekken 8, I feel it's like a fucking gimmick. I saw a Mike Hollow video. He's another good content creator out of the UK, I believe. I mean, some of you guys probably even follow him on, probably subscribe to him. Um, he also talks a lot about Mortal Kombat as well. Um, he mentioned that on his streams, he says what he does is both players will pop their heat and just get their heat and just use their heat right off the bat at the beginning of every round. And it basically makes Tekken 8 into like Tekken 7.5. So I was like, that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way of, playing the game of Tekken 8, where you just both players just activate their heat, get rid of it, and now you're playing Tekken. And so I felt that was pretty cool. I definitely look forward to trying that myself with somebody. But yeah, the new Virtua Fighter is probably going to be dope. I don't think it's well. All right, that's fair for you to say. I'm very hopeful that it's going to deliver on what Tekken 8 is not. And what I mean is Tekken 8 is really, as I said a long, long time ago, I feel that Tekken 8 is really catered to the casual crowd. And as the proof where a lot of the legacy skill that was required for certain characters is out the window, everything is made easy. Easy combos, easy damage, broken bullshit characters and moves. The game is made to appeal to a wider audience so that Harada and his team can recoup a lot of that development cost that it took to make Tekken 8 so that they can prepare for Tekken 9. That's really what it comes down to. And I hope that Virtua Fighter will not have no bullshit comeback mechanic like Rage Art. That shit, I hate that fucking mechanic. And I feel that Virtua Fighter has a real chance at filling in that void of a real fighting game simulator where it's about as real as it can be. Yeah, I definitely agree. Tekken has a lot of problems. I think we can agree. But the one thing I will give Harada and his team credit for is that they did release Tekken in a very completed state. The net code is okay. Actually, I think it's more than okay. Um, I remember the horror that was Street Fighter Five. And I don't have a PlayStation, so I never had access to Street Fighter Five, but I heard that game launched in a horrible way. So kudos to the team of Namco Harada. They released Tekken 8 in a very completed state. There's a lot of things you can do in the game. It had a lot of modes, so I do give them credit for that. Street Fighter 5. I have heard that people said that toward the end of Street Fighter V's lifespan, it kind of came together at the end. Um, like basically Street Fighter 5 had like its own redemption arc. um, but there are many people in the Mortal Kombat 1 space that was hoping the same would happen for Mortal Kombat 1, but it never happened. And that I don't even want to go down that road because there's a lot that we can say about Mortal Kombat 1. um, but yeah, so Tekken is it has way too many moves, makes it more difficult to balance the characters. I don't know if the problem is the amount of moves. I think the issue is, and that's not the I don't mean to dismiss your point. That is a valid point. It's a good perspective. I just think that you can have a whole bunch of moves, but when you overpower and overtune a few of them that other characters don't have, you really fuck the game up as far as I'm concerned. And because a lot of times you can have a game that has a lot of moves, doesn't mean that you have to use every single move. Like many characters in the game have like upwards of 70 plus moves in Tekken. Doesn't mean we're using every single move with the character. It really doesn't. So I just think it's the specific moves that do too much, like Victor's back 1+2. It's a safe high armor move plus a heat engager. And I saw a stream of I think it was Mike Hollow, Fiddy X, and a couple other Tekken players. I thought Joka, the tournament player Joka, he's a Feng and Heihachi player, and they all agreed that heat engager moves that have armor need to go. They all agree with that. Um, they feel, and which I agree, because I was talking to the screen. I was like, yo, I completely agree that having a move that has multiple functions is a little too much. If you're going to have an armor move, let it be an armor move. If you're going to have a heat engager, let it be, but don't fucking have some moves do two things. Because there's some characters that their heat is just on it's another story. Like, I'm sorry, but when I look at Raven, I can see Raven's heat. I can see the premise. I can see what Namco wants you to do with him. But the fact that he is not plus on his clones is just ridiculous to me. But I can definitely see Namco, the blueprint of Raven's heat is, quite frankly, to get very high chip damage. In fact, one of the best ways to really shred your opponent's chip your opponent is Raven's back one. They block it, Soul Zone 1+2. That shit does so much chip just for that. And eventually it will really get your opponent to just start ducking because they don't want to take those moves. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, okay. I see Namco, their purpose with Raven's heat largely is to really take advantage of his chip damage. And I can see that. So and if I'm looking at it from their standpoint, the fact that Raven can do significant chip damage while in heat to give him plus frames on the clone. So I still would prefer to see the plus orange clone, but looking at it from their perspective, and that's me even assuming if they even thought of it. Maybe I'm a genius and I'm just thinking of shit that nobody really thought of. But if that's the case, you have great chip plus the ability to be at advantage. But then again, that's what Alyssa does. Alyssa, her heat, basically the character Alyssa is heat. They should just call her heat because to me she's complete. She's ass in my opinion. She's not like bottom tier, but she's like if you tone down Alyssa's heat, she would be very maybe above average, maybe if that. Because that chainsaw shit, and then once she has the heat, and it's just ridiculous. I think they already nerfed the damage off the chip. I think they need to look at it again, as far as I'm concerned, because that shit is like, it's a lot. It's a lot. But man, to say my mouth is like the Mojave Desert right now is an understatement. And I am very surprised, Demon Flow, you even found this stream. I don't even know if you were even And that's another thing. When people subscribe, I don't even know if they even ring that bell. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to feel like I'm being on some cringy shit where I'm like, oh, make sure you ring the bell. Like, I feel like people should know to do this shit, but maybe not everybody does. And I guess if you don't ring the bell, if people are posting, you may or may not even get the notification. So, you know, but anyway, man, I'm about to just chime out really because my damn mouth is kind of done in terms of the my spit is like non-existent at this point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you did good work in that video. That's why I was like, yeah, I you know, wanted to do that. And I feel like, you know, we should support. The only time I'm not really into supporting another creator is if they're really doing something that I'm not really doing. Because then it's like it could potentially oh, take care, Wendy. Hopefully maybe we'll see you in the comment section at some point in other videos. um but you know I just feel like if you're doing a video, or no, let me start this over. If you subscribe to a channel and that channel is doing stuff that you're not really into, it can kind of potentially hurt their channel, because when their video appears in your feed and you don't really bother to watch it, it can kind of hurt them, so it can kind of hurt them, man, definitely. Oh man, thank you. Ibi Isabi. Anyway, thank you for your subscription, and thank everybody that tuned in. Surprisingly, maybe I'll do more of these, and I definitely need to get into Twitch. But anyway, I'm gonna get some water and take care, y'all. Let me see here. Da, da, da.